number 17. Today we have a special guest for you, but before I introduce him, a couple of things up front. Just I want you guys to pay attention to these beautiful, beautiful mugs that we had our yeah. So we're probably gonna have more merch for everyone that wanna look into it and you wanna
I almost made shirts too, but then the shirt wasn't the right size.
yeah, so we're gonna have that. So hopefully next stream we'll have the shirts too. But yeah, something new, a new computer, a new setup, so Miggy can come in and set up and be on time. However, that didn't work today.
Without messing up his own computer.
Yes. But anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna introduce you to my buddy Matt. So I've known Matt for quite some time now. It's been over 10 years. So I met Matt when I used to work at the valet with Arthur, and we became good friends. And since then, he's been a big part of my life. Where times that I have questions, I go to him, and times that he has questions, comes to me. We kind of like look for friendly advice here and there. But let me tell you a little bit more about Matt. He's an entrepreneur in his 30s. He started all these businesses right when he hit 30s, right before 30s. Before that, he's been part of a bunch of think tanks, has invented at least several things that he's never really published, several apps he has never published, but now he's running two successful businesses. One is Shoot to Thrill Media, where he pretty much helps people build websites, maintains them, so on and so forth. So he's got a whole streamlined thing going on there. And the second one he started not long ago. It's gonna be lawn and land care marketing, lawn and land marketing. This is geared specifically towards people that do lawn care and then basically big projects such as where this tree should be, where these plants should be. So he's doing that. On top of that, he's got an Airbnb going live pretty soon. On top of that, he's an investor, so he's been playing the stock market throughout the whole COVID, as a matter of fact, and he's been doing super well with that. So overall, super intelligent guy. So there you go, Matt.
All right.
You basically told us the whole story.
See, guys, I mean,
You didn't,
So,
you didn't let the man
did I
talk.
miss anything?
No, you read my script perfectly. Thank
Yeah?
you for doing that. No, that was super easy for me.
So anyway, Matt, so tell us a little more, because you did start all of this when you were super, super young, right? Like most people don't do this. Most people at that time, they're just kind of getting their legs underneath them. And, they've graduated school. They have about 4 years of experience. At that time, you're graduating school. We're doing valet. And then I'm going to let you go from there.
Yeah. So, I think any entrepreneur, like the entrepreneurial spirit, does start pretty young. Whether it doesn't have to be in the sense of like, oh, I want to start my own business. It could just be something like, oh, I want to go do something different that could be start as a hobby that you can turn into something that makes you money. So I would say my entrepreneurial prowess really, sure, it started young. I mean, I could go back to like third grade. I don't know if other people know about it, but they had like invention conventions and whatnot. I remember the first thing I invented was, and to this day, if anybody wants to take this, it'll be a multi-billion-dollar idea. Still, I said that as a little kid.
He's being Elon Musk right
you
now,
need
okay?
to-
He's giving shit for free.
In third grade, I'm not even kidding. I didn't get help from my mom on this one. I invented a boat motor that had like a protection cage around it that didn't mess with the propulsion. But at the time when I was in third grade, there was this whole big like save the manatees thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can invent a boat motor that protects manatees, that doesn't get like tangled up and all that stuff, boom, $1 million idea. Get that thing, make it so it's required on all boats in Florida.
You guys
Money.
have 5 years.
Money.
If you don't do it,
Go invent that. I
if you don't do it in 5 years, he's gonna do it himself.
yeah, that's my Elon Musk hyperloop right there. So there you go. But yeah, I've always had the expectation that I'll never really work for somebody. So I've been kind of fortunate in the sense that I've never worked a 40-hour work week for somebody. I went from when I was a kid doing part-time work to wanting to do my own thing. So I never had to do that like 9 to 5 grind. now I'm doing the 9 to 9 grind, so that's always fun. But I love it because, yeah, I'm working for myself. I get to always be my biggest critic, but at the end of the day, I do get to dictate what my freedom looks like. So, yeah, a lot of projects that I've worked on, a lot have failed. Some have succeeded, but every single one of them I've loved. So,
What's the first thing that you, like, per se, worked for yourself, like, did that after the valet or before the valet or whatever?
Sure, yeah. It was definitely during the valet. So valet was very fortunate. Like, it was a great job to have as a college kid, and for someone in the entrepreneurial space, because our hours were at night usually, like dinner time. So I would work on my projects before work, and then even like work on them while I was at valet. But the first one I actually started it because I had a family member that was like really bad with money. So I'll put her on blast. It's fine. I don't really like her. So I had this aunt that was just like real, like terrible with money, and she had a bunch of kids. I like my cousins. They're cool. But she didn't have any money, but she kept going to Disney World. Like, man, they love Disney World, and so they would always ask my grandparents for money to like pay for their bills. And so I'm like, if you just had some standard like budgeting things, like you would be fine. And so like I knew about like the whole Dave Ramsey envelope system and all the stuff. It's very rudimentary, but I was like, oh, there's no like tech version of this yet. And so I started building out like the processes. I was not like a techie at all. I didn't know any coding or development or anything like that. I understood what I needed, like whether it was like hiring somebody to build it or just outsourcing, whatever it was. Still very expensive, but I started building that process. I did a bunch of pitch competitions and everything. Like, I did win a lot of money that would go towards that build. But during that process, other endeavors came along. I don't have ADD, but when it comes to like opportunities, I'm like, oh, I want to do that and that and that. So
Gotcha.
I went from like one thing to the other. My first one that didn't make me any money was this like digital envelope system, but and my next couple from there were kind of like in the same realm until I did start making money. And then I just kind of improved.
You said that already. What was the first one that did make you money then?
Okay. Oh man, see, like I don't want to get into a whole story time, but
we got some time, man.
Sure, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, running late. Sorry, people. Yeah, so I got invited to this thing called Startup Bus, where they brought like 30 entrepreneurs in like major city areas. Everybody got on buses in like cities all across the U.S. and everybody would take these buses and meet in Austin, Texas, and you had 3 days to come up with a business idea, build the business, and then pitch it to like investors, like real investors in Austin, Texas. So I came up with this idea about buying concert tickets, like music festival tickets, super cheap, bulk pricing, like 150 plus at a time from the vendors. And then on my platform, I would create like a year out payment plan for people. So like, okay, you want to go, the big one we did was Sunset Music Festival here in Tampa. All right, you want to go to Sunset Music Festival, normal ticket, like $150 or something like that. I can get them for 70. So I'll sell them to everybody for $100. And then I set up what's super popular now is like the buy now, pay later sort of system. And so these people would now pay me $8 a month or whatever until it reaches $100. So I get $30 profit on each ticket that I bought. And it worked out. It was cool.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Now all the ticket places are probably just doing it directly.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it was like, it wasn't super scalable. I learned a lot, but there were a lot of failures that's where I learned the most in.
So
And
talk a little bit about the Ultra Music Festival. How that thing when we're actually at the Valet when this happened to you. I think we were running around. We got busy and like, where the hell is Matt? And I see Matt on his phone. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And that's when you were getting the emails, like one after another, one after the.
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember very
So
much.
basically, what he did.
I remember like getting overwhelmed like while I was at work. Sometimes like I got in over my head, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll promise too much.
So he had the Ultra Music Festival for the upcoming year, but of course people don't read, so they ended up going on there and just like
that's
purchasing
Yeah.
tickets. So like this is upcoming year. He doesn't even know if he can get tickets for this stuff or not. But he already had, I think, something ridiculous like 50 or 100 people literally purchased in full these tickets for the upcoming year.
Yeah,
And
so
they're emailing them, where are my tickets?
I'm just holding on to a ton of money, which is actually funny because I don't know who the guy, I forgot his name, the Firefest guy, who would just like, he threw like the Fire Festival and he started like taking everybody's money, but he was really just paying back other investors. This
Yeah,
whole
and then
Ponzi
everybody had a
scheme sort of
mattress on the
thing.
island.
Yeah, and
Bring your own
I
mattress.
know what you're talking about.
and then
right,
the
on
Firefest
island.
just like never happened because he wasted all this money paying back other
And they were
investors
supposed to
from other
have like
ventures.
gourmet food, and it was like
Yeah,
small
sandwich-
pack
yeah.
sandwiches.
So
and stuff.
I was doing a much smaller version of that without realizing it, but stopped doing that to move on to better endeavors.
And then the next thing was, so talk a little bit more about Shoot to Thrill, how that came about, and
Sure.
when did it start? What was the first website that you went with?
So Shoot to Thrill is a digital marketing agency. The short of it, we build websites. That actually came about because of the what I used to call ticket stash. Well, it started because of that company. I didn't have a developer. I didn't know how to do anything as far as development goes. So I hired somebody. I hired this girl that she like was very adamant. Oh, I know exactly how to build what you're wanting. It'll cost this much. It'll take me this long. I'm like, okay. I don't know anything about it, so I gotta trust her. And months go by, and I'm like, I don't know what the turnaround time on this stuff is. And so after 3 months, I'm like, all right, let me see something. And this chick just like gave me nothing as far as like what I was looking for, and then just gave me a ton of excuses. So I'm like, screw it, I gotta learn how to build my own websites and stuff like that. So I took 3 months, just stopped living. I gave up my entire social life, and then just learned how to develop websites and code, and then to kind of test it out, I built the website for that company, but I had a buddy who was like big into shirts, like he wanted to sell shirts. So I'm like, let me build you your website. And so he gave me $400 cash, just kind of like as a courtesy. I was like, oh, that's pretty nice. And then I guess the website worked out pretty well, because then it's funny that this is going to come back full circle, but a landscape company saw that website and they're like, hey, that's pretty good, can you build me my website? So I'm like, okay. He's like, how much? I'm like, $5,000. He's like, no problem. Boom. And so like right then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a lot of money doing this. So I was just like, you know what, screw it, let's just stick with building websites, because I enjoyed it. Like I can like look at work, the fruits of my labor, like see what I actually built, and people need it. Great job security. Websites aren't going to go anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, that's pretty much how it started. The business itself has evolved. The business model itself has evolved, and then
You said it came back full circle with the whole landscaping thing, right?
yeah.
Go more into that.
So I've spun off Shoot to Thrill into a niche agency, and so now, rather than focus on all businesses and all industries and building websites for everybody and just like constantly racking my brain on like what works for what industries, now I can just laser focus, say, hey, I'm the expert in the lawn care field, the landscaping field, when it comes to websites, growing your website, not just like major SEO, like national SEO, but localized SEO, because landscape company in Tampa doesn't care about ranking for landscaping out in Washington. They only care here. So like we put a large emphasis on local SEO and driving leads and all this stuff. So all the stuff that I've learned over the last 6-7 years for Shoot to Thrill, I'm now like laser focusing and now being an expert in just this niche. So we now command a much larger ticket price for all of our services and products. And at the end of the day, everything's way easier for me because the landscaper in Tampa actually does 99% of the same things as the landscaper out in Washington. So we can kind of utilize all the stuff that we've learned here over there and build a really good network. So yeah, it's been good. So yeah, it all started with a landscaping website and kind of came around full circle because landscapers, they need websites, but they do not want to learn it.
Got you. That sounds smart. It kind of reminds me of getting into that, like you said, niche market of like only doing it for landscaping, right? Kind of reminds me of like I work construction, and I've heard construction workers like people own businesses will say like, "Oh, I'm too busy." The other guy will tell them, "Well, then double your prices," and so you work less.
Yeah.
You're gonna have less customers, but you're gonna make more. You make probably the same amount of money if you lose 50% of your customers, and you can spend more time on all the jobs you want to do.
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like it translates a little bit there. I don't know. It sounds similar.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because
you're gonna just focus on that one
I guess I
type
could
of
talk
thing,
some
yeah.
numbers on it, but we have our base package, which I actually no longer offer on my like generalist agency, just because this new niche agency is working so well so quickly. But previously, we used to build $99 a month websites. It was good. It was sticky. You still had to go through the whole pitch process, but the whole idea was low barrier of entry. You got a business, $99. That should be nothing as far as overhead. So $99, boom, you're on website. You have your website. Well, now our minimum package is $1,200 a month, which is 12 times as much money as a single package from there.
Yeah.
But it's just as sticky, way easier for me to build now, and like we have all of our systems in place. So not only am I making 12 times as much money per job, but I'm doing much less work because I don't have to learn about a whole new industry and all the stuff. So
Smart. Yeah,
Well,
you're sticking to one market in a sense.
I think you're also not spending as much time just because you have all this experience that you've gained throughout the years. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it
Yeah.
would have been, it's a little bit. So we got a question here.
Yeah.
Charles is asking how it at all do.
How-
Basically, how's Squarespace and Wix impacting your business model, if at all?
Yeah, no. I mean, Squarespace and Wix has helped me tremendously over the years because it's a great way for these business owners to just be like, wow, this sucks, this is tough. Like, and those are the ones that promote it. Like, oh, you can do it yourself. It's gonna be great. Okay, yeah, you can build a website. You could put your like about page and your services and your contact page there. But you think it's going to compete at all in like your local rankings and all the stuff and the conversion rates and all the stuff versus a professionally built website? So these people can build a website and it might look okay to them, but when it comes to conversions and then you stack that up against a professional looking website, it doesn't hold a candle to it at all.
It's
So
not
like
even just the way it looks, but also like the way it runs. Because like my cousin does that too, and like sometimes he would be doing coding because he's like, there's too many people on this site and like it's freezing, whatever. If you do it yourself, you're not going to be able to work with all that and
right.
figure it out, even if it looks nice.
Right. Yeah. And if you're going to be a multi-million-dollar business anyway, you're not going to be doing that with a Wix site.
Yeah.
You need a marketing team.
Yeah.
Like you're not like, honestly at that point, like who are you trying to impress by like, oh yeah, I'm building a multi-million-dollar business with a Wix site. It's like, all right, what could you be doing if you had a professional website? So no, those DIY websites builders, they're definitely a help. They've always been a help for us like over the years. So 'cause at first I was like, oh man, it sucks. These people can build websites for $20 a month or something like that. But then I'm
it's
like,
never the
no, it's
same.
tough. I can mow my lawn for free. I would rather pay somebody $40 to mow my lawn because I want to
Yeah.
do it, and they're gonna do a way better job than me.
So got another question. Do you just design websites or do you guys acquire domains as well?
I don't quite know what we mean by
Yeah,
acquired domains.
I saw that question. I didn't understand it either.
But
Hey,
I mean,
Alex, go ahead and elaborate on it. Are you talking about buying the names out and then just keeping the names, or what are we talking about here?
when it comes to domains, I mean, I can see the where it would have been lucrative back in the day, but people caught on to that real quick, like in the .com era, where people were just buying two words, boom, like yacht, Florida, boom. like put that yachtflorida.com. That would sell for thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But those were back early 2000s.
Yeah, it's not like that.
And now with
So-
internet opening it up, where it's not just .com anymore, it could be dot whatever, XYZ dot whatever.
Sure. I mean, .com will always be the gold standard. I mean, you can have your .ai, .ios and whatnot, .cos, .orgs, .nets, but nothing will touch a .com.
Yeah, it's
ever.
not the same.
Yeah.
It's not. It's almost like it's pre-engineered into most people, like when they see something that's not .com, to like double question the website.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and I mean, if you have website.co, I guarantee you a lot of people are accidentally typing in website.com instead. Yeah. So everybody knows to type in
Yeah.
.com.
Yeah.
So now you have the long hair. So talk about a little bit more about the Airbnb. How did that come about,
Oh man.
or how is it going to come about?
Okay. Well, not a sustainable model, everybody, but at least from a scalability standpoint, you could probably get one out of these. This tactic I used, but I met this girl that I proposed to, and she owned a house. I also owned a house, so now we're gonna Airbnb out her house. It's a great model. Hopefully, you can only limit that to one, unless you're living in Utah, I think. But yeah, so
Hey, bring back Utah.
we're gonna be Airbnb-ing out my fiance's house out in Tampa.
Nice. Now, as far back as I remember, because I was always in a finance world, even before college, during the college and during the valet, and I always would talk about stocks and bonds, and always would talk about the investments, how things are going. And mind you, guys, we worked throughout 2008 and 2011 when things were really, really bad, and this is when we were doing valet, and our business depended on cash, right? And we're talking about this, and as far back as I can remember, Matt would always say, it is just gambling. It is just gambling. I don't like it. It is just gambling. I will never do it. Fast forward a couple of years, and what is Matt doing now?
Trading stock, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
I mean, hey, I'm glad I had that mentality back then, because I would have been really dumb and treated it like a casino, which a lot of people do. I mean, to this day, everybody, like, at least I want to say everybody when they first start.
Well, before you go any further, hey guys, this is not a financial advice, nor it is an education. We're just talking about what Matt does. Doesn't mean you need to copy and do all of this, right? You need to go learn this on your own, and this is not an advice by any means.
Right. So here's some financial advice.
Here's how you should spend
Don't
your
treat the stock market like a casino. No, I'm super glad that I was worried about that, and I really feel like everybody that starts, especially if you started in like 2020, treated the stock market like a casino. It's like, okay, put $100 on this stock name, it went up. Okay, cash out, I made $6 on it, went up 6%. That's great. All right, let's do $200, and so like if you do it that way, that's the same thing as going to a casino. Now everyone's losing their ass, so that sucks. But yeah, I was fortunate that I did very small increments amount of money. I hate gambling personally. I despise it. And I remember I lost $70 in one day, like when I first started, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things. But I was just like,
one day?
yeah.
Well, one day, that's like, yeah. What would you invest in one day? Is $70,
dude. So it was a penny stock. I was like, oh man,
a penny?
Well, no, I mean they call
On a penny stock, yeah, I know.
they
what
call
you mean,
pennies
yeah.
anything
Yeah.
like I think it's under $5.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it was like
I'm saying,
I
how
was
do you lose that much money on a penny stock off rip?
well,
Well,
yeah,
because
I
they
was-
fluctuate. They go up
But
and down.
that much in one
So-
day?
well, I mean,
I can tell you a little
sheesh.
more about the penny stock. So what happened during the 2000 and what's been happening is a lot of people, not a lot of people, a group of guys will get together and say, listen, we're going to buy this penny stock. And then we have a lot of social media pool. What we're going to do, we're going to buy this penny stock at X dollars, right? And then we're going to start blasting through social media that this is what it's going to do. They create fake news and things like that. They basically spruce it up. So a bunch of people invest into it. The stock starts going up. And those people that bought it to begin with, they cash out. Once they cash out, the large amount of money starts snowballing down. And people that came in at a later time, and bought it at a higher price, they basically end up losing the money.
Yeah, the new
Okay.
term for that is a rug pull.
The rug pull.
But yeah, so I mean, and honestly, $70, I lose that every single day now in the stock market. But at the time, I was like, this sucks. I just lost $70 like that. So I'm fortunate that I learned my lesson with a small amount of money. And so I'm like, all right, you know what? I got to know why I lost this money and make sure this doesn't happen, especially at like a larger scale amount. So now I'm like have a very diversified portfolio. It's very boring. I'm not like throwing my money into Shiba Inu coin or something like that. And hey, I'm going to be one of those people that does not believe in cryptocurrency at all. So if you want to, in the chat, go at me. Feel free.
What do you mean don't believe in crypto?
I don't believe in cryptocurrency at all. At least in its current state. Happy to go into that one with you if you want. But
I don't have a lot of knowledge on it. So I would just want to know why you feel that way.
Sure. But just in relation to my investments in stocks and everything, I'm very in tune, and I stay like abreast on all of the information. If you come over to my house or office, wherever I'm at working, I guarantee you CNBC's on. Like, I'm always watching it like from the corner of my eye and like knowing what's going on. I do not gamble with my money. I do not feel comfortable like being in risky investments, but it pays off in the long term. It does not pay off right away. So you got to be patient. You just got to be very strict with your investing methods, because if you treat it like a casino, if you're putting X amount of dollars and expecting a 2x return, you're going to lose your ass 90% of the time. Guaranteed.
So, you already know.
Sure.
Why no crypto?
Oh, okay. Because at any point, government can come in and be like, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna regulate this. You know, it's a wild west out there. People are losing their money. It's terrible for the economy. It's challenging the U.S. dollar. We're not going to allow it." If they ever say that, they literally have the power to do that. If they ever say that, it's screwed. It's screwed. I mean, I think India did that already. China did that, and sure, like it's holding its.
Well, China
value.
created their own digital yuan.
Yeah, digital yuan. Yeah.
So they created their own digital yuan. So they pretty much closed everything on a crypto. India closed everything on a crypto. But with the same token, I think it's Bulgaria is the largest investor in Bitcoin. I think it's like $200 billion. Where when the Bitcoin was at its highest, and then Ecuador. I think it was Ecuador that invested a ton of money into Bitcoin, and then they sold some when it was at the highest, and then with that profits they opened a bunch of schools. So there are some governments that are investing into it, and there are some governments that are completely against. The United States has been, I think, a little more on a cautious side.
Yeah,
so I think they've been tiptoeing.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are plans right now to create a digital dollar, which the whole idea about the cryptocurrency was before they figured out how to use the blockchain. And there are some out there still, but before they figured out the whole blockchain, it was untraceable. But now that they figured out the blockchain as far as Bitcoin goes and Ethereum, they can trace the IPs and tell you exactly where the coin came from. So the anonymity was a big thing for cryptocurrency. However, they don't have it anymore. There are a couple of cryptocurrencies out there that are still anonymous. However, one of them was commissioned by the government United States in a university. I don't want to name coins or whatever, but you can look this up. So again, how anonymous is this going to be? And then once they create the digital dollar, because at the end of the day, I think what the governments want to do, they want to follow the tax dollar, whether it's crypto or not. They want to get money out of it, right? Like that's why Cash App went on giving you tax returns. That's why all of these.
They actually held back on that another year.
They did because it's going to be pretty difficult. Let's say you have a business and you don't post it as a business. It's just under your name and you're getting money off of it. Yeah, I went out to lunch with a bunch of friends. They gave me money for lunch, So that's
what we've been basically doing. Just make sure you put like food reimbursement. Because I heard it was going to be something like if it's more than $600 sent to a certain person over a whole year, you would have to report that.
Yeah. So that's basically what it is. Government wants to get their tax dollars. Now here's the thing. That's fine. You have a business, get an accountant that's going to write everything off, and you won't need to pay anything. But see, the problem is the majority of people that are doing the side gigs and things like that, they're selling this or selling that. This is where you're going to run into issues. Like somebody, I don't know, let's say giving private like a bodybuilder is giving private lessons and you cash up in money. So they might not necessarily go and get an accountant just because they earn, let's say, $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 in a year. However, you do need to pay taxes on that, and that's usually at about 30%, right? So the $2,000 or $3,000 you earned, you have to pay $1,000. So that government wants the tax money, basically. So I think this is where the problem is, and those rug pulls that he talked about and all of that stuff. So that's another thing. So yeah, there was a big debacle with XRP. With XRP, that's another coin that that's owned basically by the creator. Majority of shareholders the creator, right? So XRP was gonna be, when I was reading about it, I don't know if they've transitioned, when it was blowing up, they wanted to take the XRP and make it the medium between transfer of money. Let's say you want to transfer money from United States to Dubai, it would go to XRP, and then XRP would convert that into Dubai's money, and that would be instantaneous. Because right now in the world, this is the issue that you're running into. So let's say somebody from China wants to send money to me, and if it's a holiday, banks are closed. They have to route the money all the way around through the entire world to get it. Let's say they have to route the money through Cyprus, through this, through that, through offshores, and then bring it into United States, right? But each step you're paying, and it takes a long time. It takes, sometimes it can be done overnight if you're pushing through, but with cryptocurrency, it's instantaneous, right? So that was the selling point. However, a majority of these coins, everyone and their mother created a coin because it was just basically a money grab. And right now you can see that, people that were talking about NFTs last year or two ago, they're all quiet. Twitter's not booming with NFT people. Logan Pauls are not buying their stupid monkeys or whatever.
What do you think about that, NFTs and metaverse and all that?
I mean, I love it. I think it's a great example of the fallacy that it really is going to end up being. Everybody has a great, like, when it all comes out, oh my gosh, these are going to be great. We're going to be in the metaverse. We're going to be able to look at our pictures of our monkeys in VR. That's going to be cool. All right. Yeah. I mean, if you think it's a store of value, then I can understand where you're coming from. But if it doesn't have a usability, like as far as like being a product, then like what's it for? And so like when you see like values fluctuating like crazy on all of these coins, and there are hundreds of thousands of different coins that you can, like, anybody can make them like that. Not anybody, obviously, you got to know like how to make them, but you like, if you know how to make them, you can make one like that, and then you can make another one tomorrow.
So the Dogecoin was the exact copy of a Bitcoin, except Bitcoin is capped. Dogecoin is basically a little bit more
built as, quote, a joke.
Yeah, it was built as a joke,
which became a $10 billion+ market cap joke. Like, that's crazy. That's bigger than like so many like Forbes 500 companies. Yeah, just as a joke. But I mean, yeah, the whole thing, it's wild. I mean, it's, if you look back at history, it's the .com boom. It's like, make up a whatever.com, sell it, and it'll probably be huge. A pets.com, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You can go to
it's very generic or whatever.
Yeah, I think the tulip mania was like 1400s, where people are like, oh, buy tulips, this is gonna be the new currency. This is obviously way long ago, but there was
tulips. That's from the Dutch time.
Yeah, if you, I mean, Google like the tulip frenzy or whatever.
Yeah.
And people are saying, oh, these tulips, they're rare, they're valuable, and this tulip's different than that tulip, so this one's more valuable than this one. And so people were spending like their life savings on buying all these tulips, and then just the tulip market just crashed, and now all these people are just holding worthless things. It is exactly what they're equating Bitcoin, not Bitcoin necessarily, but cryptocurrencies too.
So
I just want to mention, I'm a big believer in blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
Like the blockchain technology, it is not the same as cryptocurrency.
Yeah. So here's the thing, like Alex is saying, well, you got to learn how to navigate the market, kind of like stock market. That is true, Alex. But here's the little tiny issue that a lot of people don't realize. Now, the whole thing with GME happened, but it took thousands and thousands of people to do that with GME, right? So you won't be able to do that with every single crypto, right? So to navigate market, and when and if that takes off, in my opinion, I think this is what's gonna happen is big companies gonna step in because they have the money, they're gonna invest, and then an average Joe that doesn't have the connection speed, nor they do have any of those powerful computers, and they're just gonna invest a bunch of money, and then it's gonna be the same thing as the stock market, right? Like where you have the high frequency trading, you have all these things that are going on in the stock market right now.
Sure.
So yes, you need to understand markets. Yes, you do. You can't just blindly go in and do it. However, I think crypto is still in its infancy. It is not.
It is.
It's not where it needs to be. Again, this is not an advice. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. Just what I'm trying to say, educate yourself before you do it, right? Like, don't take this as an advice of what we think about crypto.
Yeah.
I found it funny when I was building my computer, everybody would come up to me like, "Oh, you're building to mine crypto?" I'm like, "No, I just want to play games. Just want to play video games."
Hey, you'll save more money doing that than.
And I was like, I would tell them, I was like, we tried doing like a mining pool with my cousin and a couple of friends to mine Dodge or whatever it was at the time. I don't even remember if it was that specific coin. It might have been a different one. And yeah, it was worthless. Like I was just making my computer, my GPU run at 100% for no reason.
Sure.
For literally no reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the I don't know if you saw that when this whole thing was picking up and people were building cryptocurrency miners, and I'm not talking about like putting together 8 GPUs and then running them, right? Like
no, people were buying racks.
Yeah.
Dude,
No,
like think of like a bookshelf.
Yeah.
But instead of books, like GPUs.
Well, it got even a little more. So they would specifically buy buildings next to hydro dams.
Yes.
They would specifically buy buildings next to electric grids.
A guy that got into crypto mining the other day. I saw a video on this. He first was building like small rigs to sell to people, and then he bought one of those facilities like you were talking about, and they were getting complaints, all the people that lived in the area, because it was so loud, the facility, because of all the
fans on it.
Yeah, the extra AC unit he probably had to run to get it nice and cool in there and stuff. But yeah, you're right. Like they were buying warehouses just to do that. And he was telling me how also they would sell basically racks. People would come in and be like, "Oh, you want to start crypto mining? Well, I already have this set up here.
Yeah.
I'll sell you this rack, and you just leave it here, and I'll run it for you."
Do you know when that was?
I don't remember when that was, but I just saw that the
Like,
whole
you think
thing
it was
about
like
it.
2020 or 2021. Maybe 22.
The video I saw was recently, like less than a week ago, actually, about this, and it was just about how the whole complaint of the people living nearby.
Gotcha.
So a lot of countries do accept Bitcoin as a legal tender. However, none of those countries are part of the international basket of money, right? So none of them are part of the IMF. None of them are part of the World Bank. So until those countries become part of, or the currency becomes part of the IMF and World Bank, I don't care how many of those countries accept it, it's not going to become a gold standard, right?
What about when Lamborghini was taking it?
A lot of countries accept my credit card too.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, even if Lamborghini was taking it, there are people that are selling houses for Bitcoin. That you can buy a Tesla right now.
You still can?
I think so.
I don't think you still can.
What the point is that a lot of companies
that actually dropped. That was a big thing. That crypto dropped when Tesla stopped accepting it.
Right.
That was a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to have a currency that is that susceptible from like one person saying one thing about it?
Yeah. Right.
Like that would suck.
Right.
Yeah, you don't know if it's going to go up or down. Again, it's gambling. Like if you're holding this coin and Elon talks about that coin, it goes up. Like, congratulations,
that's literally what was happening.
You won the lottery. But
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Until this becomes part of the World Bank and IMF, where other countries come in to borrow it because they need to rebuild their own country, it's just not going to work, right? Again, because there's no control of it, like major countries are not controlling the currency or the flow of the currency. It's just not going to happen. And then once and if digital dollar comes in, and there's no need for Bitcoin anymore because everyone is used to the dollar as being the number one currency in the world, right? So everything happens with the dollar.
The people that live in the area call it the jet that never lands. When it's at its worst, it sounds like a jet sitting on the tarmac ready to take off, this and that. It's somewhere in Appalachia.
That's just an exaggeration. Some Karen out
Yeah,
there
they're
is
just
like,
exaggerating, but I bet it is probably pretty loud because those things get hot. You're literally running the GPU at 100%.
And again, guys, this is not an advice. So don't take this as a financial advice or whatnot. We're just sharing our opinions and ideas about what's going on. Although I do have something to say. Hey, guys, we have 12 people watching the stream right now. However, we have only 5 likes. So please go ahead and give us the thumbs up. so this way we can continue doing this and more people can see this if you find value in this, right? So thanks again, guys.
One
All right.
like equals one prayer.
Yes, do that, guys. What Matt just said. So Matt,
Yeah.
so tell us more about how did you meet your girl, or so your fiance and future, very close future wife to be.
Oh, all right.
Isn't it next week?
It is in 11 days. 11 days, yeah, the wedding. How did I meet her? Okay. So it's kind of like a eye-rolling story if you're hearing it from third party, but
Mickey.
I got asked by some random friend to if I would volunteer at it's an event called Night to Shine. So it's like run by the Tim Tebow Foundation. It is a prom that is thrown for kids with autism. So like around the high school age with autism. And so I volunteered to be what they call a buddy. So I basically am somebody's date to this prom. And so I went there. I just went there alone. I didn't even like talk to my friends about it. I just like wanted to volunteer. And she had happened to be volunteering as well.
That's super nice, by the way.
Yeah. So no, it was really cool. I mean, the whole event, like I strongly supported. It was a great experience. Everybody there was just in such a good mood. It was just an incredible time. But yeah, she was volunteering there as well. That was my first time I met her. So it worked out that we both have like very similar passions and like the want to help people and like be there for people that might need it the most. So that's kind of where we met. I know, super eye rolling, like mushy stuff, but from there we built a friendship, and then that friendship turned into being engaged.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Now, what did you think of when you first found out what she does?
Oh, dude. So I always get like intimidated like speaking about what she does out loud, because like I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble, like if I'm gonna hear about it later. But I've come to grips with it. So she's a U.S. Marshal. It's a real job. And so
It's a real job.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do you mean by that? You have people be like, that's not a real thing?
Right, well, I'm like, I've never met. I don't think I've ever met a U.S. Marshal before I met her.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it was super intimidating. It's actually like one of the reasons why I became further intrigued with her, because like she was talking to somebody else about like this criminal investigation that she's in. I was like, what are you doing? And so that's I kind of like pried into her conversation.
My background.
And so, but yeah, I mean, there's days that she'll leave the house wearing body armor and all this stuff. She always has her gun on her and
You
everything.
think she did a background check on you?
I know she does a background check. You don't think she's watching this right now?
Bro, it's not just her.
Jill.
Probably her friends that
Jill.
work with her, they did that one.
Jill, you need to chill out.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it was super intimidating. I'm not gonna lie, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty badass. Definitely more badass than like me working behind a computer. So
So she's
You're walking out with
actually
your gun in
she's
your hand.
actually one of those marshals, not the ones that are in United States. She actually goes out, right?
yeah,
like, drags
occasionally
people
It's
yeah,
big,
she will,
Alex, it's big.
She'll take people from other countries and bring them back
I
extradition.
was just commenting.
Bigger small weddings as a married man.
Oh, that's funny. We were talking about this
Oh
the other
man,
day.
It's big. It's big.
dude. Once I got started on this whole wedding planning, I was like, man, I wish you were having a small wedding. It's a big wedding. Yeah, it's real big. So, we'll see.
I think it's funny. We were kind of having this conversation the other day about like we randomly made me and my girlfriend were talking, and we were like, well, let's see who we would invite to our wedding when we have our wedding. And we started making the list, and I was like, God damn, I want to have a 20-person wedding so
Dude.
bad. So bad. I just want to invite
Dream.
like the 20 people I really hang out with, and then that's it.
Our wedding party is 20 people. So,
Yep.
Yep.
But
This is
at the same time, I like remember Arthur's wedding. I'm like, wow, we had so much
Yeah.
goddamn fun.
Oh, dude, it was so fun.
So at the
Loved
same
it.
time, I want to have that experience, but like it's like the head racking, process you have to
It
go
is.
through
It is.
to
It's
get that
exhausting.
to happen.
It's exhausting. And she's doing 90% of the planning, and I'm so tired.
Usually that's how it works.
Yeah.
Bye, babe.
Let it be that way.
Yeah.
Let it be that way. You all know it's their day.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm completely against weddings at all. It's like, You want to have a big party? Let's call everybody in. Let's call everybody in, get some food here, cook out, eat, call it a day. Like, to me, unpopular idea, it's a day for them to wear a white dress and take pictures. That's it. That's literally what it is. And let's just spend a bunch of money for that. This is how I look at that. So
I think it's like a weird tradition that has just built, like, it's cemented itself into basically everybody's tradition around the world. And it's
I
We'll talk about this later.
We knew you were watching, you U.S. Marshal.
it's cemented itself into a lot of cultures and almost all the cultures around the world. And it's something that, like, most women grow up to be like their like
dream.
yeah, it's like the day they fantasize.
Yeah.
Do you know where the white
About,
dresses
so-
came from?
No.
So back in the day,
JC Penney's.
Yeah, they go.
yeah. So back in the day,
If only they were to come to JCPenney.
so I saw this on. You ever seen that show? It's called Adam Ruins Everything.
No.
So it's a show. There's this guy named Adam, wore glasses, spiky hair. Anyway, and he would go in, and the stuff that he would talk about, he would just ruin it for everyone, right? Because you thought that, oh, this is something cool here, but it's really not. Like for example, engagement rings, right? So the Beers company basically pretty much figured out that there's this stone that they can get, and what they did was they got the stone, and they're like, okay, well, how do we market this? And so they started marketing this in New York with posters and everything on the walls by saying, unless you're a real man, you would, real men buy diamonds for their fiancés, and that's how engagement rings became something around, which is it started not long ago. Same thing with white dresses. The white dresses were only for royalty. Only royalty back in the day could afford to have clean white dresses. Most people did not afford to have white dresses, nor they had white dresses because it would get super dirty right away, right? So the white dresses, again, the white cake with sugar. Royalty could afford sugar. Normal people didn't. So slowly throughout the
We're not
ages, it became
royalty.
something that we don't see it that way anymore. But that's how it translated. People were like, okay, if you're wearing a white dress and you have a cake that's like made of sugar, like you must have money. Like that was to demonstrate status more than anything.
The
right?
Wow,
wedding
I'm actually-
industry created FOMO.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised by that. So I looked up about like when engagement rings started. I mean, it goes back to 1400s, but like it didn't become popular among the masses, as it says, until mid 1900s.
Yeah. So that's
Interesting.
that's what I'm saying. So that's where the Adam Ruins Everything came, because it turned into something completely.
I keep telling Emily she's just gonna get a silicone ring. She can deal with it.
So Arthur, a question for you.
Matt says it was Matt. Don't ask me questions.
So you're married,
Mhm.
yet I never see you with a wedding ring.
I don't like jewelry.
But
What was the excuse? What was the excuse you
No
gave to your
excuse.
wife
But
about
you wear a
this
necklace
jewelry?
every day, and you have a
No,
watch
no.
on your wrist.
No, I hate jewelry on my hands. No, seriously, I just dislike it.
So what was the excuse you gave your wife?
I gave her the same excuse. I
No,
give
you
now.
didn't. You said something else.
Ask her. Well, I know. Well,
There you go.
so not an excuse, a legitimate thing at
Excuse.
work. I work with 750 volts, and you're not allowed to wear a wedding ring because you can lose your fingers.
That's a legit excuse.
But that wasn't my excuse. I just told her I don't like wedding rings.
You can always
And
get a
well, not
tattoo.
wedding rings, jewelry in general.
You get a tattoo.
Or a silicone.
Wait,
Nope.
but do you wear the watch? Do you have a necklace that you wear?
My watch, honestly, I really don't care for it. I don't have to wear it. I never wear a watch.
Just call it your wedding watch.
Yep.
There you go.
Can I wear it on my finger? So
Or you can do like my dad did for a long time. He just put the ring on a necklace.
the only thing I wear is my cross on my neck, and that's it. That's all I wear. I
You're a
won't
man
wear
of
any
God?
other jewelry. I have a couple of bracelets. You don't see me wearing it, so I don't really care for it.
I don't know. I always, since 6th grade, Lynette bought me my first watch. So I was used to, like my first nice watch.
What is
So I was always used to wearing that every day.
I don't know what that is.
And the same thing with necklaces. Always since I was little, I've always had like a really small necklace that I would wear every day that I just never take off. Like the first 2-3 watches I had were daily. Like wear them to sleep, wear them for showers. Never took them off. Never took them off.
So
Only until I started doing martial arts and I took them off.
the story with watches was, I don't remember, this was very, very long time, like several hundred years back. So this king, basically, I think it was in Europe. It was in Europe, but I don't remember the country. I think it was Switzerland. I don't remember the country. Anyway, the guy came out and said all the men need to stop wearing jewelry, meaning rings, necklaces, crowns, and all that stuff, right? And which they did. But what he didn't include in a decree were watches.
That's Arthur if he was a king.
Yeah. So he didn't include in the decree the watches, and that's how men since back in the day wore watches as a form of demonstrating jewelry, and this is why to this day some of the watches can
I mean, they were. I mean, I seen some.
Say again. I'm sorry, I missed that whole thing.
So this king in Europe several hundred years ago pretty much said men cannot wear jewelry, right? Rings, necklaces, all of that stuff. But in the decree, he forgot to include watches. So these prominent men that wanted to demonstrate that they have money, status, or something like that, they would wear watches, and they would wear expensive watches. And this is the reason some of the watches like Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, Audemars Piguet, they're the price that they are, because they have the history and lineage coming in from many, many years ago, and they were produced by watchmakers that were taught by other watchmakers that were taught by other watchmakers since day one, right? So technically, for a guy, if you look at it, the jewelry that guys like the classic jewelry that guys can wear is a watch, a tie clip, and cufflinks. That's it. Like that's all the guys wore as a form of jewelry. Now it's a little more all about the Cuban links and iced out Cuban links and iced out Cartiers.
I remember when I was growing up, they still had like the whole trend when I was younger. They like, if a guy got his piercing on his left, it was okay, but with the right, you're homosexual. You remember that?
Yeah, that was a thing in Lithuania as well. Yeah.
Am I gonna wear my ring? Oh yeah, I will.
Well, you get
He's married to a U.S. Marshal.
Knowing you, I know your ring is gonna be. I have a good
shoot him.
Good. I have a good whatchamacallit idea that your ring is gonna be like super like elaborate, not in the sense of like
It is.
metals, but it's gonna be like super elaborate. Like,
Really?
It is.
Yours?
Yeah.
What are you? What are you
I
planning
already-
on doing?
It's a secret.
What?
Oh, is it a
It's
secret? I
no,
see. I don't
I'm
know if
just
it's. Just kidding. No, I got mine. I got mine from Manly Bands, and if you use my coupon code today, you get 10% off. Matt Foreman 88. Yeah, I got mine from Manly Bands. So it's legit. It's Damascus steel on the outside, so that's like, look that up. I don't know. It's like some sword.
It's
metal.
Damascus, from my understanding, is basically
Layered.
when they press a bunch of the different strongest
Layered.
types of steels together.
Yeah.
I mean, originally like they just use whatever,
Yeah.
right? But nowadays, like it's. I was like, what the hell? It's basically like a bunch of pressed together, so it gets that really cool line pattern to it of where you can see all the
A
layers.
super unique pattern. So yeah, that's the outside. The inside is yellow gold, and I'm a big
Bucks
Marvel
fan?
and Iron Man fan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thought
you were
you
so
were-
close.
Almost close.
And so on the inside of the ring, because I only had so many characters I can use on the Manly
It's not
Band
a
website.
poem, bro.
It says proof that Matt Foreman has a heart. It's from
yeah.
when Tony Stark
Yeah.
Pepper Potts
Yeah,
gets him in the
that's
thing.
pretty
It says proof that Tony Stark has a heart. So boom.
By the way,
So
I
that
think
ties it all
that's his
together.
favorite character too. Like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Iron Man is his like number one. So talking about Marvel,
Yeah.
what do you think? How do you think with Marvel? In my opinion, they have switched the gears over the past years, and the way they're producing their movies, they're a little bit different than they used to be. How do you think, is it positively impacting the Marvel universe, or is it? Because I know you were one of those people where you're like, man, I'm tired of watching these, origin stories. Like, give us the actual movies, right?
Sure.
And then, go ahead.
Oh no.
So do you think the way they've moved, the road that they're taking now, has it, do you think, impacted the Marvel universe on the box offices and
Yeah,
whatnot?
they're in a tough spot because I mean you had the newness of it, and then you also had a great cast. I mean everybody loves Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and all them. And so now that they're all done, you got to try to introduce all these new characters while keeping up the production value and all the stuff. And on top of that, you get into the business side of it, and now Disney's got to like promote Disney Plus, so they got to put stuff out on that platform. They're not just movies anymore. How are they going to tie it all together? It's a mess. The business itself, Disney, the business itself, from the entertainment end, is a mess. On top of that, you get into what is politically correct, and then wokeness, and then
I hate what they did with my precious Star Wars.
Oh, dude,
I hate that.
Awful.
I hate what they
awful
did.
stuff. So yeah,
I mean, like, they brought it back with the Mandalorian, like that was really good.
Mhm.
I'm a big Mandalorian fan, but like the newer episodes, not that they were badly produced, but like the story was just, you know, going completely off canon, like completely with books that were already written and people loved and this and that, and then also just like you're saying, applying to the whole wokeness thing too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I got super lucky in the fact that like my favorite guy, being Iron Man, died. Like, went off with a good, like, sailed in the sunset.
You know what's funny though? They're gonna bring him back.
I just read something today that they said they are not. They officially, as of today, they said they are definitely never bringing him back. Now, obviously, at any point they could be like, that was just to fool you.
I mean, they said that when he first died too, right? Like, we're definitely not bringing him back.
Sure, yeah, but no. Either way, his send off was perfect.
Did you see that?
Missed all the today's stuff of it. So
I think it was. You know, they already released like all the movies for Phase whatever that we're in, right? For
5.
That for King Dynasty, Avengers King Dynasty, they're gonna have Spider-Man as like the main role, leading it.
I think that was the goal all along. Man, even that though is like, it's crazy from a business perspective, because Disney doesn't own all the rights to Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's still like
Sony does.
It's still like limbo, right? With Sony and them.
It's wild, yeah. So like, are they going to?
And then they have Garfield coming back to do a project with Tom Hardy. I saw rumored.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I saw something about that, which I think that's
Andrew Garfield, not the yellow, the orange cat.
Yeah.
And then my whole thing is like, for example, I like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think Chris Pratt does it really well in it. So same thing with Hemsworth. He's really good Thor, because it's not just like a soppy story or just action. There's a little bit of humor in it too. Like,
but that changed though. Like,
yes.
Thor wasn't like that in the first two, like his first two solo movies. It wasn't like that.
Right.
It was.
And then Deadpool, you know, same.
His last name starts with a T. The director.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, that guy. That did the last Thor movie. If you watch it, it's very like comedic, and it's not really anything like the other two Thor movies. And then supposedly they're gonna try and go back to that how they did before, but whatever.
Yeah, someone just said mentioned Bob Iger, and that's a really interesting one. Bob Iger is, like, in my opinion, one of the best businessmen. First off, I just learned that he was like 72 years old. The dude looks like he's 50. But yeah, Bob Iger, he just retook the helm of Disney after being out. Like, he kind of like got lucky. He retired February of 2020, so like right before the pandemic started, and then Disney, as with every company, just like went down the drain, and so his predecessor was terrible anyway. But now Bob Iger comes back in and is like, I'm gonna clean this up. Which, hey, I mean, he's already got 3 years of terrible feedback of the direction. So yeah, he could definitely turn it around. I believe in the guy, but we'll see.
I want to see what they're gonna do with episode 10, our last Skywalker thing. So we'll see. Are you like Star Wars?
I did.
You did.
I did.
Yeah, right.
I did before Kathleen Kennedy. Like, before she got a hold of it. Yeah.
That's how most people feel. My cousin Fernando, he hates it now.
Yeah.
I mean, until the Mandalorian came along, he was like, "Oh, Disney fucked it. They screwed the pooch, and it's just done now."
Yep. I'm just gonna say it, right? The reason we watch those movies is because we see a character. It's usually a guy that goes through hard times and then comes back, and then he acquires these skills, and then he fights through and he wins. Quintessential story since day one. Any book you open, any fairy tale, anything, this is the story you follow.
Star Wars is a little different though. I mean, yes, you have like a one person, but at the same time, no, you don't, because they like split it halfway
That's
through.
true.
Of, oh, now that person that was supposed to be the good one screwed the pooch, and now his son comes along, this and that.
Yeah, so that's fine. That is fine. But then what they did with the last ones, they threw in this girl that You don't see this origin story of coming up. You know what I mean? Going through hard times, becoming somebody. Like, that's, in my opinion, that's what people want to see. She was more of a prepackaged deal. You open a sandwich, just a prepackaged sandwich, just swinging her little stick around and then just winning everything, right? So, in my opinion, this is what made the movies not fun for me to watch. Because I wanted to see that evolution of a character, which you don't have in the latest Star Wars movies. I think, to me, that's what it is. I don't know.
That didn't bother me.
I think it's the how much they desecrate the old stuff is why I dislike it.
I know people hate, like, for example, like watching The Last of Us now. If you guys know what that is, as HBO Max came out with this
I
show.
did watch it.
Don't say the story. I want to watch.
I'm not gonna say the
watch it.
story, but they have some stuff that they steered off from the story, and I'm not completely against them doing that, but I do have to say I'm a bit of like a truist when it comes to, like, I want, like, they did it right the first time. Why do you have to mess it up? Now, yeah, you can steer off from the story, but I don't know. I'm very, like, picky, and I know that's just me being biased in the sense of, like, that's just what I want, right?
This was the question I had for Matt. You know, when I think we went and we watched, I think it was Black Widow or one of them. We watched the movie together. There were a bunch of people at the movie theater. After I left, I was like, Matt, this, like, I'm not big on Marvel. Like, I never grew up with comics. First of all, we didn't have access to comics. It wasn't a big thing, right? But then I just kind of know a little bit enough to get by. To me, was like, Matt, but this doesn't look like what the comics are really. Is like, man, it's a different universe. I'm like, what do you mean it's a different universe? Like, people are used to one thing. They grew up reading these comic books. They grew up seeing this, and then you take it and you change it and you make it something else. And now you want people to like it, and if people don't like it, you shame them for not liking it.
But think about the amount of people that watch that shit now. That's the new thing for them, right? They've never seen anything before. They don't have anything else to compare it to. There's a lot of
go ahead, go look up Black Panther #2. What was the box office on that? Like, what
I
was
don't know.
the
I put
earnings
it
on
on.
the box
Actually,
office?
that's funny you mentioned that movie I put on about 4 nights ago, and I took it off 20 minutes in.
Yep, I couldn't watch it either, man. It was terrible.
I don't think it was terrible. I found trouble for me to fall into, like, another new story.
A new character? Oh, new story.
Yeah, new story.
Right?
It's a
like
new story.
they had to, like, basically not start from scratch, but kind of. Right?
Yeah. So, and then I read the other day, Avatar, which was a 3-hour movie. I mean, this thing was long as hell, right? But it's number 4 or number 5 on a box office. It's $2.5 billion, I think, on a box office earnings.
Took, what,
I haven't seen it.
well over 10 years to make the sequel, right?
Yes. But this Avatar, this new one, was really good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched
I
it
haven't
yet.
seen it.
Yeah, it was really good.
I haven't seen it.
I liked it. I liked it how they changed everything.
I can't wait to see they bring back the guy who played a Wolverine originally. What's his
Hugh
name
Jackman.
again? Hugh Jackman.
But he's older now.
I
you
wanna
know?
Yeah,
watch-
but he's coming back for Deadpool, and, like, Deadpool's in first and second movie. He's, like, egging him on, or, like, when you coming back, talking hella
I
shit.
think so far. I think
it's gonna be a
Deadpool-
cool dynamic.
I think Deadpool is, the #1 to me in Marvel. Deadpool is the #1 so far.
I grew up on Spider-Man, so he's, like, my favorite. Always will be my favorite. That's just, like, from since I
Can't
was a
wait
kid.
for the cocaine bear.
That's right.
Oh
Top
my
top
God.
superhero, super
Top
villain.
hero, superhero.
8.855 million.
No, 855 million.
Where's that stand in the whole?
I already found that stat. I was looking for rankings. That's what I
Mhm.
want to find.
How did it rank? Anyway, so yeah, so I think that, this is, people vote with their wallets.
Yep.
At the end of the day, and I think if Disney doesn't do something about it, they might just end up screwing the putsch.
I'm a defeated, like, I'm a Marvel fanboy. Like,
Mhm.
I have been for a long time before the movies were around. My passion for them died right after the latest Spider-Man one, No Way Home. That movie, phenomenal. After that,
I was really
all was
thinking.
terrible.
I thought you were gonna hate on that movie.
No,
I was
I
like,
loved
no,
it.
what?
That was the last one.
That
The
was
last good movie.
And it was really good.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was so good.
And I love how with that movie they literally were kind of just like for a couple of years beforehand, where like literally you were just like, all right, let's see what people tweeted for the past couple of years on what they want, and they literally gave them what they wanted.
And that's how you, like, that's good business. That's good business.
And I think it still ranks like top 10,
Alex,
right?
Just in regards to Logan and them bringing him back, so Deadpool 3 is supposed to be a prequel. Logan.
Logan, yeah, of course. That's officially.
And then I think the numbers kind of speak for themselves. Black Panther 1 made 1.3, where Black Panther 2 made 8.8.
I heard Quantumania is not doing too well.
I mean, hey, I will say Quantumania is the first major Marvel movie that I didn't see in the first week of it coming out since I was in college.
I was really hoping you'd say, I don't have a microphone, but I was really hoping you'd say it sucks so I can zoom in on your face, because Victor still says that it's
I haven't seen it. I
Why
see it.
would you
I'm seeing it this Tuesday. So this coming next Tuesday. Sorry.
What happened? Say that again. I'm sorry. Could you say that again?
Oh, as far as like the new Ant-Man. I mean, so first I haven't seen it in the first week. First one forever. I'm seeing it this coming Tuesday though. So we'll see, and I'll give you my feedback then. I'm pretty brutally honest.
And
at this
you know,
point,
when it
'cause I have
comes-
low expectations.
Now that we're on this topic, what did you? And switching over to DC, have you watched any of the?
I'm ready to
recent stuff?
become. I'm ready to become a DC fanboy now, man. Because did you see the new Flash trailer?
No.
Watch it.
It was
See,
on,
hold
good.
on.
Was
Yeah,
it on Super Bowl or something?
No?
It was.
You didn't set up the desktop?
Real quick, but it's gonna cut it.
Oh, you didn't set up the desktop thing? Okay, never mind.
So, if you like Spider-Man No Way Home, I don't know how much Batman you've watched in your life, but like the Batman I watched when I was growing up, when I was a little kid, first one I saw.
Yeah, Mr.
It was
Keaton.
Michael Keaton,
Yeah.
Danny DeVito as Penguin, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
shit.
Well, they just No Way Homed it, and in the trailer they
okay.
got Michael Keaton showing up as
I've seen
Batman.
that. Yeah, I've seen
And I was
that
like,
popping up.
Oh,
Did you
man, I
watch
was
the last
losing it.
Batman movie with Pattinson? Robert
I did.
Pattinson?
I
How
did.
did you like that? I really liked that.
I
thought
liked
it was good.
I liked it.
I haven't watched it yet.
Because I had expectations and the movie was over there. It was nowhere near my expectations. It was like I couldn't predict anything. I loved it. Like that's just it was a good standalone movie.
I thought the one of the things that stood out to me the most, that every time I hear I see somebody watching the movie, is the soundtrack sticks to you for like days. That little humming from that song they chose, it like sticks in your brain for days. That thing was so clever.
What was the new one that came out with The Rock?
Black Adam.
Black
I haven't
Adam.
watched it yet.
And
watched it.
so
What
the
do you
thing
think?
is, he's already done. They already cut him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Didn't do good enough.
Was it that bad?
So James Gunn, he's the writer director for Guardians of the Galaxy. Got basically ousted by Disney after Guardians 2 for a tweet that he had back in 2010. Somebody dug it up, boom, said something like in regards to like children or whatever. Disney got rid of him, and then the entire Guardians cast like rioted. We're not going to film Guardian 3, so they bring him back, and James Gunn says, "Hey, this is my last movie. I'm done with you guys." Rightfully so. Like they screwed him over. They didn't take his side on anything. After this dude brought in billions of dollars for them.
Do you know what happened with the girl that was in The Mandalorian that they some reason kicked her out from? What do you know what happened with her?
Yeah. She said something anti-trans on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, she said something like, I don't care if you're a girl trying to be a guy or whatever, or a guy trying to be a girl." And she said something, and then
they
Disney like
Right
went through this
away.
whole thing, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to go take these courses. We want you to get on a," and I actually just watched a video on it. Disney asked her to get on a Zoom call with 45 transgender people, and wanted them to film it of her going through it and understanding it. And she's like, "I'm not going to do this because you can edit it however you want." And so then they got rid of her. They're like, "Okay, well, you're not willing to participate," so they got rid of her.
What's that guy's name? He's huge in a makeup business. Like he's made ton of money.
Jeffree Star.
Is that what he is? Like he wears different color hair. Usually wears a dress.
Yeah, Jeffree Star. Yeah.
Yeah. Recently he got under fire because he came out and said something about the LGBTQ community.
Yes.
Talking about
And
the one with the tattoos. Tattoos.
I don't know
Yes,
if
he's
he
got
has
all the
tattoos or not.
And
tattoos.
the pink hair.
Crazy
whatever.
money. Yeah,
And he
he's
was a podcast.
yes.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
You know, it's funny. I saw.
I came up, but I didn't watch the whole thing like today, literally, or something.
Yeah,
that I saw.
I heard what you're talking about. Basically, like
He
Yeah,
came
he said
out and then
something
he said his opinion
anti-trans.
about the LGBTQ community, and they pretty much like
Yeah, hosed
started,
him.
even though my understanding, he's part of his community, right?
No,
Not
so
really?
because from what I understand, I just identifies as a man, which he is biologically a man, and he says I'm a man, but yes, I dress and look like this, but I know I'm still a man. That's really
Okay.
all he was kind of saying. I was gonna talk about how I saw today he was on Logan Paul's podcast, and he's like on his phone, and he shows the guys all around him, like him hanging out with NBA players, like secretly and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
like pretending to be a girl.
no,
Like,
no, like legit looking like how he looks and how he acts. No, he's very, very famous.
Doesn't
Like,
he have like pink cars with pink interior?
yes, he's got like pink
Okay.
Bentleys and stuff like that.
So talking about that, I know this girl, and
I think a McLaren too.
she's local. She's local. And this girl knows
Local?
this guy
She's
who
local?
is gay. So this guy gets a date on Grindr, gets an address, whatever, shows up at the place. Like, when he shows up at the place, he goes, huge house, walks in the house, they do whatever they got to do. And then as he's leaving, he's like, he sees an envelope on a table. And he's like, I kind of want to know whose house it is because the name doesn't ring a bell, whatever. He read on an envelope, it was one of the players. I don't want to say what team or whatever, but it was one of the professional players,
Basketball?
sports team players locally that basically hooked up with him. Yeah, so there you go.
dang.
There you go. Jeffree Star status right there.
But yeah,
so
hold on, bringing it back around to DC. So James Gunn, Disney kind of screwed him over. So his like retaliation is he joined DC. He is now the head of DC Entertainment. Like he's writing all their stuff. He's directing everything. So he's building like this decade plus universe. So first thing he did was just like fire everybody, like all the major players.
15.9 million subscribers he has on YouTube.
Jeez.
Jeffree Star. Like biggest makeup thing I think you could say, like period, as a man.
Hey, good for him.
he
Did you
fires
watch-
everyone.
Did you? Oh yeah, James Gunn, right?
So he fires everyone.
Oh yeah. So James Gunn fires everybody, including The Rock, who's the #1 entertainer in the world as
Rock,
far as
yeah.
like dollar amount.
Yeah.
Gets
But he
rid of
just
Henry
plays The Rock
Cavill.
in every movie, so
Yeah, gets rid of Henry Cavill, who's Superman. Like, and he's just saying,
Yo,
no, we're getting all young people.
he's off
because-
The Witcher too.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
so crazy.
Yeah, Henry Cavill, great actor, beautiful man, great looking guy, great actor. But yeah, he's on nothing right now.
Yeah,
So.
he got replaced on The Witcher.
Gunn did not fire everyone. He did not fire everyone. He kept Ezra Miller, who is like a crazy, like abusive narcissist, and he kept what's her name, Amber Heard.
No way, he kept those
So,
two people.
Yeah, so they're still on, and then I think Jason Momoa is still there, but like he got rid of a lot of like.
That's funny. I thought I heard
Big
he cut
people.
Jason as well. Did you watch the black and white version of the black and white and
It sucked.
10 by 10 square, 10 by 10
Sucked.
ratio of
Sucked.
what was it?
Oh, we got 4K.
The noir one.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say no.
What is the Avengers of DC? What is that called again?
Justice League.
Justice League. You didn't watch the Justice League?
Oh, the
Snyder-
Snyder cut.
yeah,
Yeah.
Snyder
I did
cut.
see that. It was like 3+ hours long.
Yeah.
It was.
But the story was
good.
completely it was
I
completely
don't know.
different.
I'm mind blown on how they even like had all this footage to build something completely different. but
Exactly. That
it
was my
very
thing
good.
when they were like, "Oh yeah." I forgot. I'm so bad with names right now, especially on the spot. The villain that they added to the Snyder cut, and it's like, well, you guys had that originally planned in the movie, like the whole story. How did you guys even do the first version? It was
Yeah.
completely different.
The crazy thing was the guy that did the first version was Joss Whedon, who did the first Avengers movie, which is like my favorite movie of all time because of like how it made me feel when it first came out. You would think like, oh, this guy knows how to make these kind of movies. Just absolutely demolished it. It sucked. First Justice League movie sucked.
Hey, I heard what's his name? Johnny Depp is signed again with Disney.
I heard a while ago
Is
that
that
he got
true?
signed again to
Oh,
go
he's gonna-
do.
Uh,
Pirates?
Pirates 5?
Yeah, I
or
think so.
whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Because with all the thing that happened with him, they dropped him. No.
Yes, originally
Yeah, they
when she
dropped
came
him.
out with the claims, they dropped them. Yeah.
I think he also said that like I'm never gonna work
Yeah,
with Disney
and then
again
he's
Well,
back.
until they pull out the checkbook.
Pull out that
Yeah,
$200
I
million
heard-
dollar check.
So I feel
Yeah.
like he said something like 300 or 500 million, and like the article like that came out that I saw, like the clickbait headline of the article I saw when he accepted the deal was like, oh, 301. Like he accepted the 501 or 301.
He said Amber Heard is not employed by.
Oh,
No, not anymore.
okay. That might have just been like some clickbait thing, but
Johnny.
Well, she's fired then.
I don't know. Do you guys think Amber Heard is ever gonna come back for that debacle that she had
what debacle?
from what's his name?
After she shit on the pillow, I don't know.
Oh,
It's kind of hard about that.
After Johnny Depp's debacle,
no,
which
no,
she effectively set back Me Too movement by 100 years by
Dude.
doing this stunt.
I bet she could have if the whole pooping in a bed thing didn't come out. That's embarrassing. You don't come back from that.
But it was the Chihuahua.
Dude, that's
That's a big chihuahua.
you don't come back from that one.
Yeah, like he's coming back for Pirates, but I'm gonna see if I can find like the how much they're paying him.
Bro, people love Johnny Depp. People
Yes.
love
Yeah,
Johnny
they
Depp.
do.
The way he is, they love him.
Yeah.
The
People
alcoholic.
can't wait. See, this is the whole thing with me.
Yeah, I
you know,
was
like,
right. I was right. They released that they're gonna like offer him a deal of 301.
Yeah.
He said, "I will not even work for them for 300 million." Like that's what he said.
Nice.
And now they're gonna be like, "Well, we'll give you 301. Come back."
That way nobody lied.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. Like, you know, you got an actor that everyone loves, but then you cancel him for something that he didn't do,
Mm-hmm.
and then now you're bringing him back without any apologies. You know what I'm saying?
Apparently,
I'm
oh wait,
sure they'll
let me get into
follow
that.
that.
Actually, I'm reading here that apparently they are also willing to include a sizable donation to the charity of his choice.
Yeah,
included in
where's the
deal.
apology?
I'm
Well,
sure
that's
they
the
apologize
apology.
behind
The
the door.
apology is going. I'm going to give you exactly how much you told me. I need you to give you, and I'm going to give you.
No,
I'm
no,
going
I'm
to
saying
donate to a charitable of your choice. That's the apology.
to me it would be like
Giving
you know,
301
public
million.
apology
Yeah,
for
no.
dragging my name
No,
through
you're
mud.
not gonna. You're
So-
not gonna get that from Disney.
So that was like
That's
one
what
of
I'm
the
saying.
one of the big reasons why, not the only reason, but a big reason why they Disney fired Bob Chapek was that he had a terrible rapport with the entertainers. So Chapek takes over, and then soon after, because of COVID and how Disney Plus came out and Black Widow the movie came out, they released it on Disney Plus. It was like one of their first major releases that went to Disney Plus while it was also in theater. So the movie itself didn't make as much money as projected, so it didn't hit these certain numbers, so they didn't want to pay Scarlett Johansson. So she's like, no, you're going to pay me. So they sued her rather than trying to like work with their entertainers. And so she's like, I'm done, not working with Disney anymore. It was like the first big spat between somebody that was big as far as an entertainer goes and Disney. And so they're all blaming Chapek on that because Bob Iger like kept really good relationships. So it kind of makes sense that, hey, Bob Iger's back, like he can like work on that relationship with Johnny Depp, because Johnny Depp, you pay him $300 million, that movie's gonna bring in $1 billion. You know it will.
Mhm. People gonna go watch him because they haven't seen him in years, and everybody loves him.
Yeah.
You know who I'm seeing another actor come to be like that? You know, we're talking about Disney and Star Wars. Pedro Pascal. Pedro's like now he's becoming one of those
He's
like
good,
anytime
man.
they see him somewhere, like, oh, we gotta watch that, and
Yeah.
he's doing so good. You
Yeah.
know, The Mandalorian did amazing.
Yeah.
The best episode, in my opinion, of the Book of Boba Fett was basically the pilot episode to this next season of The Mandalorian that we're
Yeah.
gonna watch. Like in Boba Fett, they literally had an episode that was just about Mando, Din Djarin, and him finding his new ship and all this stuff. And that was like the best episode of the Book of Boba Fett, where Boba Fett wasn't even in it. And then The Last of Us is picking up huge traction. Apparently, gonna surpass House of Dragons, which had
Dude, I
freaking
watched that
Game
show.
of Thrones behind it.
Yeah.
I watched that show, and that is good. As long as they continue doing what they're doing
Really,
right
a lot
now,
of people
it's
say they don't
good.
like it. I keep hearing like it's really good, it's really bad. I don't know.
Nah, that show is good because
House of Dragon, the Game of Thrones prequel.
because you have everything, like everything seems to be in balance. You got this masculine role
Targaryen
of a
reign.
guy that's super masculine, and then you have this very lighthearted kid that is a female that's kind of like balancing things out. I think it's a perfect balance as far as the roles go. I really like that show.
Have you watched Last of Us?
I have not. No,
Oh, it's really
I'm
good.
gonna watch it.
It's
So
good.
dude, all these good shows are coming on HBO Max. I don't have HBO Max. I gotta get that thing.
I
man.
literally saw that Last of Us came on.
Can't you
And-
code something in a computer
I
and
probably
get it?
can.
Yeah. I used to have Miguel's account, and then I saw Last of Us was gonna release, and I went to go log in, and it said you need to renew payment. I said, "Motherfucker," and I said, "All right, fuck it, I'll pay for it." And that way, and I just
Miguel
paid for it
did that
myself.
shit on purpose. Sabotage.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know if you're a gamer at all.
I am. Yeah.
If you
I am.
played Last of Us,
I see. I'm an Xbox guy.
oh,
It only came out on PlayStation.
kidding.
Yeah. I know.
yeah, it's now it's on PC. If you're a PC
Oh, is it?
gamer, you
Okay,
can go
cool.
play PC on.
By
PC.
the way, you want to hear stories about Matt and playing Xbox?
Oh
He
god.
literally has YouTube videos of him sniping people off.
Oh dude, that was.
Like he was one of those
15
kids
years
that
ago.
sat there, talk shit to you, and then sniped
so
your ass.
I want to
That
ask a
was a long
question.
time
How
ago.
did you guys capture video on like Xbox 360 days? Because like I remember playing PlayStation. I didn't have Xbox, right? But like
Uh-huh.
I see buddies of mine that have like they have these old YouTube videos up from when they were on Xbox. Like how the fuck are you guys capturing the video?
So for Xbox, when Xbox 360 came out,
Had it built in already.
You can have
You could
you
record?
could get a Connect, and so
Okay.
it was like this camera, and it had
Yeah.
a microphone on it. So Xbox 360 and Xbox One both had them.
Yeah, I remember.
And
I
if you had that, you can tell it, say, "Hey Xbox, record this,"
oh, okay.
and
you
so
could
then
have
it would
recording,
record it
okay.
for you, and then I can just like take all those videos, put them together, and
Yeah,
upload
the PS4
it.
I remember the PS4 had like a recording and streaming or
Mhm.
clips and everything, but I don't remember that on the older.
yeah, no,
systems.
the Xbox, that one was like way ahead of its time. Is before streaming was a thing. It
Yeah,
was just like
yeah.
but yeah, I mean I did it early on. Again, that was 15 years ago.
The Last of Us is cool. If you watch the show,
I'm a big fan of video games with stories,
so
and so like I know I would love that one.
have you ever
for
heard of
sure.
Uncharted?
Yeah.
They're the same Naughty Dog, which is
Yeah.
the company that
Yeah.
made those games. Is the same guys that did all that, and they have a very similar gameplay, but the stories are completely different.
Right.
And then the thing about Last of Us is it's got a kicker in the end. It's got multiple kickers. It's
That's
just
what
like
I've heard.
I don't care what you want. This is what we're doing. The
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So talking about the games, right? So Assassin's Creed, when I was still playing video games, Assassin's Creed was one of my favorite games, right? And they made the movie. The movie was terrible.
The movie was bad. Yep.
The movie was super bad. Now,
With a
there's,
potentially good actor too, Fassbender.
there's another game that I liked a lot. I've yet to see. There have been rumors that they're gonna make a movie. I don't think they've set in stone this.
I
But
hated the Uncharted.
God
movie,
of
by the way.
War.
Oh my God.
God of
Tom
War.
Holland's
Why don't they
favorite.
make a movie with God of War? I think that would take off because God of War to me was a really, really good game. Now I don't know statistics on it.
From
if
what
it's
I've
sold.
heard, there are rumors that they want to start a live action.
So they
God
could
of
probably
War.
do it now just because I think the last God of War game came out.
Yep.
I think it's supposed to be the last
And
one. So now
it's-
they've completed the story and they can actually do it.
Yeah, because I think God of War can fetch $1. You know what I mean? Because
So
I don't know. I
it's
just
weird
have a
though
feeling
because
about it.
they're doing Last of Us the show and they just greenlit the game for a third game, which is weird because I played the first one and then I basically watched majority of the gameplay for the second one, so I kind of know everything that happens, which kind of ruins it because it sucks. But it's weird that they are gonna, like you said, they're making the show already without having finished the game completely. So everybody's still kind of questioning what's gonna happen. God of War is going to have a show. See, I feel like I had heard
Cool.
something about that.
Yeah, that'll be a great one.
That's a lot of CGI. If they
A
have
lot
to,
of body makeup.
and a lot of
He's
CGI.
like-
I wonder who they're going to use.
to
As an
implement.
They have-
actor, somebody that's gonna be that big.
I'm
and-
more
Arnold.
interested. I ain't
Oh,
gonna
no.
lie. I'm more
He's too
interested in who they're gonna use as Atreus. If they, depending on what timeline they stick
Maybe
to.
Momoa. Shave his head.
No.
He won't
No.
do that.
No.
He's known for the
Momoa
hair,
doesn't
man.
have the beard for
He's
it.
known for the hair.
Yeah,
He ain't gonna shave his head.
yeah. He's not gonna
Oh,
shave
No, I
his
hope
head.
they don't do that because then you're not gonna get Kratos. You're just gonna get The Rock
Yeah.
with paint on.
Well, they could use the same guy that they did the CGI on. That dude looks like Kratos himself.
He does.
But is he
literally
an
Kratos.
actor? Is he a good actor? That's the
Uh,
question.
He did the whole entire scene.
He did all the scenes.
So the guy that did the God of War CGI,
Yeah,
scenes, but is he a good actor
who
in the
knows?
movies? You know,
Because he can sit there in
acting
a
is a
big
wo-
warehouse and act it out by himself, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's different. What I was saying though, did you watch? You guys saw the new Uncharted movie with Tom
I did
Holland and
not. I've heard
Mark
it's bad,
Wahlberg?
though.
I think
Yeah.
I saw it. It was
I did.
I
did
look.
watch
I
it.
watched the movie, and it for me, it's like if you don't know what Uncharted is, the games. Oh yeah, cool movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then like it's like if you played the games and
No,
you're
it's
expecting these things, you don't get them.
Yeah.
Now another one that I was kind of like about was the what's his name? Indiana Jones, the last one. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I don't like it. I mean, it
new
was
one?
funny
Oof.
and not funny at the same
Are
time.
they making?
Are you talking about this new one that's coming out or this last one? that
Last
just came
one.
out? Oh, the one with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
Oh, well, they got another one coming out. So
good.
Aren't they
good.
coming out one
Maybe that's
with
better.
I think Super Bowl had a commercial. no?
yeah, there's a
Yeah,
new Indiana Jones coming out.
what's his
Yeah.
name?
My man's in his 80s.
Yeah, what's his name?
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
Ford, yeah.
My man,
Yes.
What is
man,
what
they
is he
gotta
doing?
bring him out on
Bringing up
strings.
Indiana Jones. No, is it Indiana? Yes, Indiana
Yeah.
Jones. You remember the old ones with Harrison Ford? They
Mhm.
bring a new one with him in it. I'm like,
Shit, how's that gonna work? Is he
Yeah.
walking with a stick? Like, what's
I
gonna
don't
happen there?
know.
I don't know.
How many
That
stunt
poor
doubles
guy.
they using?
Now I don't
Uh-huh.
know if acting out in a suit equals to acting out in an actual movie. You know, acting out in a suit, okay, it captures, but then you have CGI to correct all the incorrect movements and things like that, or incorrect facial symmetry.
I
or
thought it was
whatever.
pretty cool though. I actually watched a video on the guy that exactly what you talk about that played Kratos like during all the scenes when they've got all the sensors, and he was talking about how he was in such like good physical shape. He's like, I literally felt like Kratos, like because when they were giving me the stuff to wave around or whatever, it's like I really felt like Kratos. My body was in such good
Yeah.
like condition at the time.
So I've seen on Instagram Reels the other day. I was scrolling through, trying to get idea of what makes some of the reels take off and what makes the other ones, just doing research, not actually going through it because I have nothing to do, right? So this reel came about. There's this Norwegian dude. I don't remember his name or whatever. And the reel came out.
The
He's
mountain?
standing on a mountain cliff.
Oh, the
Holding-
mountain. Probably the mountain.
No, holding two axes in his hand, and he just like screams and turns around and jumps off this cliff. This cliff must be about 50 to 100 feet long, and there's this tiny cutout in a river, right? So he jumps off the cliff and then just goes straight like this, opens his arms out, and then right before he hits the water, he just pulls them in and just smashes into the water. He's one of those guys, they have
Sounds like you watch CGI, my friend.
no, they have those diving
that looks-
diving
Sounds like you watch CGI.
you know those
yeah.
diving contests when they just kind of jump and they
Yeah.
do stupid things and just kind of dive into the water.
Yeah.
So he's part of that community, right? And the way he jumped out, and the first thing that I could think about is like, holy shit, this is something God of War would do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like jump out, like looking like
Man's
a
man right there.
yeah, like a star, and just like rah. So I thought that was kind of cool.
It was
like, you
funny.
can bring things like that.
A very popular opinion about the Assassin's Creed games is everybody hated coming out of the Animus, which is like the device that put you into like that body of back in the day. You know what I'm talking about? You played it, that you had to do missions like in real life thing. Do you remember when you play as the assassin, it's because your character is in this machine
Yeah,
that takes you back in time, this and that. And then
Yeah.
sometimes you have to play as the actual guy that's in the machine.
Right.
And then like everybody's like, oh, we hated those missions. Nobody wanted to be in real life. Nobody wanted to be.
No, the
nowadays.
real life sucked.
Yeah, the
real
those,
life was
those missions
terrible,
all
bro.
sucked. Yeah,
The good missions were the ones that you were in a machine, because you
Yeah.
get to climb, bro. Like every little kid wants to have those, like every little kid or young guy that's like playing those games wants to have those capabilities: climb up a tower and then jump off of it and then do a little flip and land into a sack of hay. You know what I mean? Like, or be able to climb up the walls and things like that. This is just something that I think every little kid wants to do. Not every, but majority of the little kids want
I
to
think
do.
that's why I love the Assassin's Creed game the most, was like the parkour aspect.
Mm-hmm.
for
Parkour.
sure.
Favorite parkour scene? Office. When Michael,
Only parkour scene.
the only parkour scene, Michael and Dwight are running around and screaming parkour, parkour. But yeah, so, all right. So besides this, so what do you have in plans for the future?
Oh man.
Don't tell the secrets, Matt. It's
Yeah,
a trap.
gosh. Well, in the future, oh gosh, I gotta get married. Gotta go on a honeymoon.
Oh, where you going on honeymoon?
Going to Switzerland
Very nice.
For what we're calling a buddy moon. So we got
What?
like 5 or 6 friends that are going to the first part of our honeymoon.
Can I go
to
too?
Switzerland
Can I go?
for our skiing and snowboarding trip because
Nice.
we do an annual one. So and then after that, Jill and I are splitting off to go to Italy. So we're doing like a multi-day long road trip across Italy and hitting all the places, all the
Amalfi
things.
Coast.
Yep.
That's
So
gonna be fun.
That'll be a great time. After that, I mean, get that Airbnb up and running, bumping, and
That's the move I hear. I was watching, this investor was talking about it, and he's pretty big in a community. I think the total assets owned, I think, over $50 million and about 15 million in equity. And he was talking about how they've been doing more Airbnbs rather than rental houses. And the way they were doing it, they'll buy a huge house with 10 bedrooms.
yeah,
They set a huge price tag on it, and then, because usually you do go, it's usually in Tennessee or something like that, where you get together with friends and then you go and Airbnb out this
Sure.
house that costs $2,500 a night, but there's 10 of you,
Shit.
Yeah.
so it comes down to be pretty cheap. So Airbnb's been, it looks like it's been the next thing as far as rental.
yeah.
So
And
I think
I
it's a
mean,
pretty
I
good
don't
move.
know if, and this is kind of just like a testament to like what I do as far as like making sure I'm staying up to date on like some of my investments. But like a lot of people are saying, oh, Airbnb's like it's dying. I'd rather go to stay at a hotel now because I mean it's got all the amenities and blah blah blah. I don't got to do the cleaning fees and clean up and all this stuff. But if you look at some of Airbnb's financials right now, they just absolutely blew everything out of the water. I mean,
Well, it's the same
they're
thing that-
demolishing everything. So they're doing well. There's obviously a big market for it still, and it's only growing. So it's definitely not dying.
So it's the same thing as saying like Uber is gonna go away. Uber is not going away
Yeah.
anytime soon. Even with their price hikes, it's just not going away.
Yeah.
Right. So when Uber first started, I was pretty avid user of Uber because I'm pretty used to using cabs in Lithuania and stuff. But when I came back here and then I learned the prices of cabs, I was like, you got to be out of your mind.
Yeah.
Like the prices are super high. And then when Uber came around, and it was like, okay, this makes sense. I'd rather use Uber, right? So I was talking to a Uber driver, and he ended up being an ex-cab driver that was very unhappy with the whole Uber's business model because it apparently put him out of business from being a cab driver. Now he's a
Capitalism at
Uber
its
driver.
finest.
And then he's like, I don't understand, people don't get it. If you went and worked as a cab driver, you will make the same amount of money. It's not about like them making the same amount of money. It was more about how much money the cab companies were taking away from you.
Sure.
So
A
I think
lot.
it's the same thing with the hotels and Airbnbs and things like that. And I've spent a lot of nights in hotels. Most people have no idea what hotels are to begin with. Like you might think hotels are always like they have all the amenities, everything is nice. It's not. It's not. It's a 50-50 crapshoot whether you're gonna get a decent hotel or not, even though it's rated nicely, and being able to travel for three years straight, pretty much every week.
And it's so much nicer to have an entire property
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
your whole
yourself.
house to yourself, and it's going to be a unique experience every
Yeah,
time.
I mean, like I went
And
to
it- And the
which
house is
might not
nicer.
always be a good thing.
U.S. Virgin Islands, and we were like on this top of the cliff in the Airbnb. Where are you gonna get a hotel on this top of the cliff? You're not.
I mean, you can get it, but you're gonna end up paying $600-700.
You couldn't find one in U.S. Virgin
Like
Islands,
Marriott
yeah.
in Tampa, that's on a river walk. They're $800 a night. Like, unless there's no space and you have to be
Rio.
here for some convention, you're not paying $800 a night. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think Airbnb. I mean, if Airbnb was going away, people wouldn't buy whatchamacallit, the campers and put them on their properties and rent them out as Airbnb.
Yeah,
I've
we
seen
had-
people rent vans.
Bro, we had
Yeah.
that conversation a couple of days ago. The
Yeah.
guy, his friend or whatever, had a camper next to the house and was renting.
Yeah, so he
Plus
had a property.
was renting the property too.
Yeah.
So he was renting Airbnb, right? The house, and he's like, "Oh, it's good." They put a camper next to the same property that was renting, and he was double dipping.
My man.
And
He,
it's
he
like,
built
what?
basically a fence on his own property, separated the camper from the house. He was renting the house as an Airbnb and then renting the
Oh,
camper as
I'll
a.
say later.
Hmm?
Nothing. Go ahead. No, I was answering to
Oh.
Emily.
Okay, so so he was renting the Airbnb and then he was renting the camper. So I don't think Airbnb is
No,
going
it's
anywhere.
crazy.
Talking about fence.
You renting an Airbnb, the house, and then you got a camper, and then these two people are renting, and then they come
His
out. Hey,
property,
what's
he
up?
gets to decide how he wants to split it.
Hey, what's up?
Well,
dude?
in case somebody needs sugar or salt, you just knock on the next Airbnb door and hey, neighbor,
Talking
you got
about
some
fence.
sugar?
When are we gonna do your fence in your yard, bro? You
Yeah.
got so much. You know what me and Randy were talking about in your yard that guy already has white fence.
Yeah,
behind.
just butt up to it.
Yeah,
But that's
then
an
you have the
easement.
power lines, right?
Yeah,
that's
an
what
easement.
I was asking him. Like, what if they tell you, well, you
just
can't
leave
have
the
that?
door. You don't put a lock on the door, so if they need to go up there and just.
That's
go.
what he was saying. Like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
You want to have access? Come to the backyard. It's
Well, I
fine.
think
Yeah,
for them it's
okay.
more to get the machines in there because it's not
They
just.
can,
Well, it's
put a
easier
big
now.
gate,
It would be
yes.
technically easier for them.
Yes, because now they have this 5 feet of space.
As
versus-
when you're only have to
Yeah.
really keep 3 feet,
Well, the,
and then your neighbors are this much, not no 3 feet.
well, the thing is, they also have over there. They also have the sewer line that goes through there. My understanding is
No.
no.
No,
Okay,
you
well.
can. I was thinking about it up to her fence.
That's what you should do.
Yeah, why make it wider the
Yeah.
corner and then just butt it up to
Yeah.
her fence.
Even close in those lines that come down.
Yeah.
Yeah. To go in
Yes,
front or
yeah.
behind, either way.
Yes.
Either way. Because
So
can go.
you got
Probably
the-
have to go.
behind,
But you,
probably go behind.
it would. I think it'd be better to go behind, but you could also do one panel forward and close it off.
So you got the Airbnb going. What's next? Like, so you got the lawn and lawn care
and land
website.
marketing.
Yeah, you got the marketing, that company going.
Yep.
Any new ideas?
Well, I mean,
So I know because you've been concentrating super on this, like you've been funneling everything into this.
yeah. So the goal is, I mean, from a monetary standpoint, the goal is to turn lawn and land marketing into $1 million annual revenue maker, and it's actually got it's already on a good trajectory. I mean, we've been open for 6 months, and we're at the 6-figure mark already annually, growing really quickly. Honestly, like the wedding thing and the honeymoon is kind of like bad timing.
Don't
as
say that.
much as I hate to say, yeah, I mean, just bad timing for business. Obviously, I'm super excited about that. But
you better be.
yeah, so I'm leaning heavy into, like, once I get back from the honeymoon, heavy into lawn and land marketing. Potentially gonna hire somebody to run Shoot to Thrill media so that they can just handle all of that. Again, that's a generalist agency, and then put a larger emphasis into that. If and when a recession hits, I'm kind of insulated in the sense of, like, a lot of my money's pulled out of the market, so I'm kind of just sitting on a lot of cash right now with the hopes of buying more properties for multiple Airbnbs, leverage any equity I might need to if I have to. Yep. I don't want to leverage any debt. Do not recommend it unless you're going to be smart about it. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, just try to make some good, smart residual income plays. Just got to make
income.
Yeah, just got to make sure the income is greater than your paying down of the debt. So yeah, hopefully more properties come in after that, and yeah.
So have you heard about this, which some consider that as what's the word I'm looking? Anyway, so basically they buy the property and then they become the bank themselves, and they basically loan it out to someone else, saying,
Sure.
"Hey, listen, I'll be the bank for you, and then you go ahead and pay me with the interest and everything." Have you heard about that? Which
Not,
they
not
usually
put that way, but I mean, yeah, kind of.
so
again, I missed it.
So basically now there's also a market in the real estate where somebody will buy a house and they're not renting it out, they're not Airbnb being it out, they're selling the house to a customer, but they're not selling it to a bank. They become the bank themselves, and they're saying,
I'll finance it.
I'll finance it for you. You pay me everything, including the
No,
interest."
you have to have some big freaking
Yeah, you just gotta have money to blow.
yeah
at that
money
point.
to blow. That's
Well-
kind of risky, right?
Not necessarily.
I mean, it's not risky if you put, let's say, $500,000 down on a house, and then you're renting it out with interest.
Because the house is still
but
on your
like
name.
charging less interest than a bank to make it competitive.
Carry back note. It says.
Yeah, carry back note. But there's the way they're saying that it's a little bit explode. What's the word I'm looking for? It's exploiting the customer, right? Because what the average consensus on this is, people will keep the house for about 15 years. That's the median. People will keep the house. So what happens is they end up selling that house. So when they do sell the house, you still own the house, so you still get your money out of it. So you get the cash that they owe you, right? And then somebody else gets the house, but you get the cash. Or they default on the payment, and then you go back and you take the house, in addition, by keeping all this
All
interest
this.
and the money that
So
came
isn't
through.
it like similar? Well, I guess not similar, but similar to like rent to own type of thing. I know Felix would appreciate in the chat this question. Rent to own, isn't there something like that?
Well,
They're
that's
doing like rent to own type of thing.
well, this is kind of that same
Okay.
model, rent to own,
Okay.
but
It sounds like you almost want them to default.
Yeah,
that's
well,
that's
it
what
is.
the idea is.
The idea is
The
to
idea
kinda
is,
screw
most
somebody.
likely they're either gonna sell the house or they're gonna default.
Yeah.
The chance of that is higher than them actually living through,
so you
30
always have the collateral of the property
Correct.
itself.
Yeah, so
Correct,
you
'cause
make
it's on
that
your
money
name.
up front and say 5 years later, say bye.
Yeah, man. So you would almost, man, that's super predatory.
Yes.
But there we go.
Because
That's the
you
word
would-
I was looking for.
You
Predatory.
would go after people with like terrible credit that can't get a normal loan from a bank,
Correct.
Well,
and then people again. You want to hope that they can make, let's say, $5,000 worth of payments, 10,000 of payments, and like I can't afford this anymore. I'm like, all right, I guess you don't get it anymore. Thanks
yeah,
for
and
that
then
free 10,000.
in the meantime, you collected your interest rates,
Yeah.
which are usually a bit higher than
Right.
than normal.
Damn.
And and these are usually done with
Savage.
manufactured homes a lot,
Mm.
because the investment up front is not a lot, $40,000-$50,000. You loan this out the property. You buy this in cash. You loan out the property at 8, 9, 10% interest rate.
Yeah.
Credit card
See-
interest rates. You know what I mean?
It's funny, like
Yeah, I agree with
so
that.
being in entrepreneurship and like I see all these potential loopholes or things that are just like unethical to become a multimillionaire real
Yep.
quick. That would be one of them. Like that seems like such a great idea, but my conscience would never.
But then
let
you
me do
walk
that.
around the corner, somebody saying with a shotgun.
Yeah, I
waiting
would
for you.
never ever do that. And I mean, you could probably make a ton of money, and I don't know the legality on that one, but I mean, it makes sense. Like, hey, if
But Alex has a point. Yeah,
Well,
you
the-
run
that's-
into owner occupied property.
Yeah, well, that's with
issues.
Dodd-Frank. But if you bought the property outright, let's say it's a manufactured home that cost you $60,000, you bought the property outright. Even if they're gonna sit there
Squat
and
for
wait,
a while.
squat
Mhm.
in a while. In the state of Florida, it's 3 months. 3 months, you give them you're not paying 3 months. When 3 months is passed, you call the cops, get rid of him, and done. That's the done deal, So, and if the property is on your name and you don't have any loans on it, or even if you do have loans on it, you can afford the loans because you taking out $50,000 and then paying, $50,000 at 7 or 8%, where you're paying at 2-3%, that's a large difference in monthly payments, right? So, I mean, if you're smart with your money, which you treat it as a business, that money doesn't go to pay your G-Wagon, right? So you can end up,
I've heard people have also hired other people to do exactly what Jay has been trying to say. Like, hey, you didn't pay? There you go. That way you don't have that moral conscience. Like, it's still-
yeah. So all I'm saying is there's that too, right? Like the owner financed,
Yeah.
right? So is it predatory? Maybe. Is it way of making money? Yes. But at the same time, if you didn't do it, how would they get a house? You know what I mean? So there's both sides of the coin, right?
So you're
I don't
helping,
know.
but you're not helping.
You're helping but not helping. It's just kind of like saying the bank. I mean, bank will do the same thing to you, right? If you can't pay, they're going to
Because
come in and
essentially,
take your
bank,
house.
that's
Yeah.
what
How is
bank
this any
does,
different?
Yeah,
right?
but the bank does, especially after 2008, they do a lot. Like, you can't just go in and get a
Yeah.
loan. You have to prove you can afford it.
Yes.
Versus what you're saying. You
Yeah.
don't got to prove it. You just give me the money, and if you don't pay, I take it back from you.
Yep, that's pretty much what it comes down
Yeah.
to. Well, even if it's not the bank, right? Let's say you bought a mattress and you can't pay for it. What's gonna happen? You're gonna go to the collection agencies, this and that. You're gonna
Right.
return the mattress, or for
I mean, much
T-Mobile, you
bigger
got a
ticket
phone.
item, but
Huh?
Yeah.
much bigger ticket item than
Yeah,
mattress,
yeah. I
but-
mean, just all I'm saying is like
They're
there's so many
treated-
avenues
oh,
to
yeah,
make
they
money.
treat it like vehicles. Makes sense. You don't pay your shit at compound.
Yeah.
Pick up your car in front of your house.
Yeah, except like with vehicles or banks with properties. I mean, if it's a single person, like I'll go get my property back because it's a huge part of my equity. What like or my net worth. So I'm gonna go after it. But like if a bank, like a lot of times, like they don't want to be sitting on a ton of vehicles. They don't want to be sitting on a ton of properties or anything because
I mean, like in the vehicle industry, they lease or whatever, sell to people a car, and if people don't pay, they go and take the car. Sometimes the car is trashed.
Oh yeah, no,
How do
people
they
know
make
when the repo come
money?
over.
Like,
I think it was
I feel
funny.
like they lose money.
They definitely lose money, but they lose less by repoing it and then reselling it later.
The other day I saw this guy making a TikTok. He was dancing in the middle of this completely trashed room, like completely trashed, and it was about how he was saying like he was gonna make sure he used the most expensive carpet cleaner. He apparently had just evicted somebody, and like before leaving, that person just completely trashed the whole place, like left trash all over the floor, holes in the drywall, like shit all over the walls. And he's like, well, I'm just gonna use the most expensive carpet cleaner, and when they won't send and they can't get another apartment until they pay this bill, which I thought was interesting. I didn't know it was like that.
Hey, Bill, what if they don't have money? How are they gonna?
I mean,
pay
if
you?
it's a
Well, that's just he's just saying, well, they clearly don't have money if they just got
Yeah.
evicted.
well, I mean, if they got evicted, yes, I was gonna say if it's a Section 8, nobody's gonna say, if they go for Section 8, they're not gonna say no to them. They're still gonna get the apartment. But I knew a girl that did that. She couldn't pay her bill. She got evicted, and then
She trashed the place.
yeah. So
But why?
She,
Why-
She not
why
necessarily
this-
trashed the
Why do
place.
you
She
know
was-
this girl?
So she had this vase at home. It was made out of like twigs, and this is like a woven vase. And inside the vase, she put a bunch of rocks because she wanted to stick these bamboo shoots, and they were too heavy to balance. Apparently, And she was explaining like the whole how she did it. And then when she was leaving, she's like, "I'm taking my bamboo shoots and my vase with me, but I don't need these rocks." So she dumped the rocks right on the carpet, right in the middle of the room.
But I never understood that. Like, you lived in a place pretty much free, whatever the month's worth you would live free, and then you decide to trash the place. What did the place do to you? I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you lived there for free, and then you know what? I'm gonna trash you because they evicted me.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you couldn't afford to pay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's
Yeah.
crazy how they have 3 months of like where it's like I don't have to pay for 3 months.
Right.
You know what's even
that's too
crazier?
long. Other states a lot longer.
Yeah.
You know what's even crazier? You can't turn off the lights. For those 3 months, you have to pay the foot the light bill. AC must be running. Water must be running.
Mm-hmm.
So there are these things, not necessarily cable and things like that, but like these amenities that for you to
Do
live.
the same things apply with like your Airbnb?
Yeah,
Really?
But there's a lot of
So
protections
it's
in
like
place.
you could rent it for 2 days
But
and
no,
they hold it for
what-
3 months.
There are protections in place from Airbnb.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean it's a possibility with any like real estate venture. So yeah.
You know, when I went to Puerto Rico and Chris was there, he was renting an Airbnb. You should have seen the list of things he's not allowed to do while he was in the Airbnb. I mean, it was like, you don't take the trash out before your thing is due. Like, by the time you're done with your Airbnb, $300. You don't do this, $200. You don't do this, $500. And it's like, bro.
No, it was the
and
same
they
thing in
send
Costa
him
Rica.
They sent him that after he paid for it.
No, when we were in Costa Rica, what do you think happened? It was the same thing. Why do you think it was on the last day I was running around cleaning and throwing shit away by the time we left?
No,
Costa Rica was the same thing.
No. This was extreme.
I had a pretty good host in
Extreme.
Puerto Rico last
Extreme.
time I
It's
did
like
Airbnb.
you make loud noise after 11, $500. You make this, $300. You smoke on the balcony, $500. It's like, Chris was like, why am I staying here?
Yeah, but then again, this is not your house. You're renting it. So the whole idea is you're renting it, and the way you found it, that's the way you leave it.
I understand.
You understand?
But I mean, if you're smoking in a
And
balcony,
we're not talking about the bed is not made.
No, you smoking a cigarette in a balcony, they charge you $500.
Yeah, don't smoke in my house. I don't smoke in my house. Why do you smoke in my house?
In the balcony.
It doesn't matter. It's still
But
their
this
house.
is, I mean, I understand all these places are going to have these rules,
Yeah.
right? But then you have things that go to the extreme.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're still paying, right? It's not like I'm coming here to stay at my friend's house for free.
Right.
Yeah, right? Like I'm paying for
Yeah,
this.
you're paying for the roof and a bed and a bathroom, running
Yeah,
water
but-
and electricity.
But you pay for these things up front, and then what Arthur's saying is that these guys came afterwards and said, "Oh, by the way, if we found that you did any of these things, we're going to charge you afterwards."
I mean, the one we rented was like literally small bed, like barely two of us fit in this bed. And it says, if you bring a third person, we're going to charge you. Where's this person going to sleep? This room was like not bigger than
Bro,
this
people
room
do
here.
that. People do that. I'm
Not
talking about
half of this.
It's no different than from a hotel. It's like you smoke in a hotel, you pay for it. You mess up their carpet, you pay for it. You take their towel, you pay for it. In hotels is the same story.
It's not
$500
though, at the same time.
Each thing is like $500
Well, they have to put these exaggerated prices for you not to
to
do
be
it.
scared. So then you
Correct.
leave there, be like, shit, I must have forgot something. Let me go back. You know, it's like
I actually had a really good host when I went to Puerto Rico the last time. Like the guy came to the house after we got there and showed us how to use everything. Was like, oh look, here's my personal number as well. If you need anything, blah 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 blah. And he was really cool about like saying like, yeah, this side of the building, these neighbors they're old, so if you could try and not make noise, if you're gonna do stuff, make it on this side. He even told us like, oh, if you want to smoke, go smoke over here because there's like propane tanks where the generator was in certain areas or stuff like that. Like it was really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
But it just all depends. And
Alex, you found any?
I feel like there's that's crazy with the hidden cameras. I feel like that's like one of those things that like if you learn what you're looking for in Airbnbs, you're gonna have a good experience. But then you have those assholes that come to you with stuff afterwards, like
Right.
Like
Well, and see,
Arthur
that's
was
the
talking
thing.
about.
I mean, Airbnb itself is its own little like capitalism, like society where, I mean, the better host you are, the more rentals you're gonna get. So I mean, there's that incentive to be not just cheaper, but like a better host when it comes
have good
to like
good customer service. in a
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. Make sure everything's laid out for you, very clear. Be a little more lenient when like some things. But another thing, and this is how we're going to be renting out our Airbnbs, is that like you can vet who you rent it out to. You don't have to just like say, oh yeah, any rents with us. So,
Yeah, like I've known that some Airbnbs I've rented before, like some of them are just like, yeah, rented now. Other
Yeah.
ones are like, oh, waiting for approval.
There you go, Arthur.
Yeah, see, she comes up with that government response, like the full
Look.
full essay of how the things work.
Oh, and it's good. She took her full name off there and just shortened it to JB, so nobody knows what her full name is because she's a U.S.
I agree.
Marshal.
No,
Watch
I'm okay
out.
with the rules. I follow rules and everything in terms of Airbnb, but this one was like so exaggerated.
But then again,
it was
he
extreme.
He didn't read the reviews. Like, the reviews
no,
somebody
the
must have
reviews
said
were
something.
good.
So where
I
was
don't know.
this?
This was in Puerto Rico.
Okay, so I mean, in those kind of spots, I mean,
Yeah.
you can really do whatever you want if there's not a whole lot of like places to stay. I mean, if you know you're in a highly like sought after place to stay, and there's not a lot of competition, you can jack your
Yeah.
prices up. You can add all these crazy rules. What are you gonna do? You
Yeah.
gonna go stay somewhere else?
No, I agree with rules. You gotta follow some rules. I'm not saying
Yeah.
like go in there and just trash the place and then get
Sure.
away with it. I totally agree with you. And then comment on Alex thing. He said that they have a lot of cameras. You can figure out if they have cameras or not. You can also disconnect the Wi-Fi and make sure they don't have Ethernet cables.
They're very.
You can figure out all that.
They're very strict with the host to not have cameras.
Yeah.
So Jill and I have done a really good job at hiding ours. So you won't be able to find it.
Yeah, I agree with that, Jill. So like he didn't have any rules. Like he read through the whatever memo what you gotta do and things like that. But then when he booked it, and like the day before he got there, they sent him all these things, and it was like 15 different things. Like everything was like minimum $300 if you leave a trash bag full.
But that's interesting
in a
what you said
trash
though,
can,
because if they didn't put that in the
$300.
initial house rules, then they don't have to. They're not allowed to enforce it.
Yes, but it's in Puerto Rico. In US, it's different. Yes.
No, because you're renting it through Airbnb. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but
It's
they met
through
him at the
Airbnb.
airport and shook him down. So.
Yeah, they're like,
Like,
hey,
so
$300 or
interesting-
nothing.
Interesting thing, as I went through working with Airbnb, I might know, is I have a dog, and we have her as a registered service animal, right? And then I've seen some listings that will say no animals, like no excuses allowed.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's a service animal, doesn't matter, whatever. But then Airbnb themselves says if you have a service animal, you don't need. It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
You don't even need to let them know you're coming with
Right,
a dog. It doesn't have to be
But
a house that
same
only
thing,
allows
remember
this.
when we went to the
Yeah, that's what I'm
cabin?
talking about, when we went to Georgia.
Yeah.
Or wherever
And
the fuck it
Zeus and Nala was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then what they can do, they can come back and because their cleaning fees are included, right? Excessive cleaning, because of the dog. They can slap
Yeah,
you with
I
an
know what I'm
excessive
saying,
cleaning.
like,
Go and
can't.
prove it.
How
They
how are some
You
of
prove
these?
it. My dog. Here's the license to my dog. There is a
That's
service.
fine, but they can say the dog is fine, no problem with that. I comply with your rules. I have no problem with them bringing the dog. However, I need to clean extra
No,
because the
they
dog was
can't. They
shitting.
can't.
No.
No, you can't.
The
They
the
can't.
thing I was interested about is that like how do these hosts get away with like saying like not saying that but like trying to imply these rules that aren't really like backed by Airbnb themselves.
I mean, they can disclose their own house rules, but yeah, as far as like enforcement goes, I mean it's super interesting. I honestly have no idea. We haven't even started renting it out yet, so
Yeah.
I know there's going to be a lot of trial and error, and like I'm like
I'm
part
sure
of me
you'll
is
learn.
excited to like get a
You'll learn.
terrible guest to figure out like all right,
Well, how to
do
deal
we
with it.
how do we stop this
Yeah,
stuff?
you learn from the.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's inevitably going to happen. I mean, what we're going to do is
It's a
try to vet
violation
who we're
of
not just
ADA to deny service.
yeah, you definitely can't deny service animals.
No, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, as far as like hosting and all this stuff goes, I mean, there's just such a big benefit to being as lenient as possible
Yeah.
while also vetting
Yeah,
who
yeah,
comes into your house.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you don't want just like anybody throwing a house party, which Airbnb's done a great job at like preventing that now because you can't do like 1-day rentals on certain times.
Oh, it's like usually the 1 days are like the party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
I mean,
yeah.
they're also like they ask me. Well, I'm glad you remind me. They ask me like, picture ID picture. What do you do? Who
Right.
are you coming with? Like
Yeah.
all these questions.
There's a lot of background
Yes,
checks now.
Yes.
And obviously, like, there's some workarounds, and you can create an account and be like, I'm never going to use Airbnb again,
Dump
blah,
it.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, we're only going to be allowing people to book if they've had, like, a minimum of 5 stays at other
Yes.
Airbnbs, and they've been rated 5 stars
Yes.
5 times or something like that.
Yes.
So, we're
Makes sense.
the house is
You
in a
gotta
pretty good
protect
area
yourself.
in Tampa.
Yeah, you gotta protect yourself.
Where, like, we know we'll be able to rent it out. So, like, we can be picky and choosy.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
it's, I mean, as with any real estate, you got to understand your market, where you're at, and then, like, who's going to actually stay there. Is it going to be a highly populated place? Then
Yes.
if not, then you need to probably accept everybody you can. If it is highly populated, then you kind of get the luxury.
Yeah,
of,
you set the price, right? The price kind of dictates, really, essentially, who
Yeah.
comes in.
And
as
I
well.
wonder where that whole ADA thing went when that lady wanted to bring a peacock because it was an emotional support animal onto a Delta
Well, so
plane.
emotional support and an actual service animal are two different things.
Well, whether she said that the peacock is whatever it was under ADA rules, and Delta said, yeah, you got to be out of your fucking mind if you bring in a goddamn peacock on our plane. You know what I mean?
Why should you need a peacock on the plane? Because
It
it
was
was
a
a
service
animal.
What is it? What?
Screams.
Well, it was not her service animal. It's not her service animal. Her emotional support.
Was it an emotional support or service? I don't
I don't
remember.
think you can get a peacock as a service animal because service animals need to be trained.
Horses?
small horse.
Small horses and dogs can be service animals. No other animals.
Yeah,
What
because they
the
have to actually be
Small
trained.
horse.
You have to train them and to have,
donkey.
I guess you could say, etiquette.
How
In the
small?
sense of like, if you're at a restaurant,
Dog
the dog
size.
needs to be
Zeus
sitting at your side
size.
table, not
Well,
sniffing around.
so horses and dogs. Why dogs? I get it. We all know that cats are little shits, right? They don't give a shit.
Because they trainable.
Yeah,
I think it's about being trainable. It's like,
What are you gonna
so
train? the
little
peacock?
horses are trainable and big horses are not.
well, because you
Oh,
don't
a big horse, really?
Big horse, you can't bring
You
a
can't
big
fit it in
horse.
the
What about
house.
pigs?
It doesn't even
That's
fit in a
discriminatory, man.
doorway.
That's
What about a small
discriminatory.
cow? You know those the small cows? They're cute. You
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think you can.
Or like Arthur,
train them
or
that
like
way.
you know, in this point in case he's not very trained, BJ. But like if he was trained, because they're super smart, why not
Yes.
BJ? You can be training him. He's probably smarter than.
I don't
a
know
dog.
what it is has to
Yeah.
do with like why they vet certain animals.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that they look at a service animal as just as necessary as if you needed to travel around with an oxygen
Yeah.
tank or a pacemaker.
No, I get that. Yeah,
or
because
anything
they'll
like that.
smell.
So that's
the-
why they can't. Like,
yeah, they'll smell. Some of them, you know, they're so good at their
pheromones,
nose is
smelling
so good.
pheromones, or
Smell
listening
cancer,
to.
or they know before epilepsy strikes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, I get that. Like if you truly need it, but then there's this other side of that business where everyone and their mother has a dog that's a service animal, yet they don't need one. They're just doing it so they can take it with them wherever they want to go. But in reality,
But it's a little harder to get a dog certified as a service animal than it is to just do emotional support because you have to supposedly have
Yeah.
gotten them real training or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like Zeus is certified, but I wouldn't take him to certain places because of some actions that he does that he's still. I'm working on it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I want to know how did you get Nala? What do you mean? Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm trying to say,
Gotcha.
bro. This is what I'm trying to say. Not every person that has a service animal document from their doctor and then they get it service animal is an actual service animal.
No.
I have a friend of mine that has
Interesting.
a pooch, and this pooch is a service animal. There's nothing wrong with her. She just wants to have that in case she wants to take him with her anywhere
Yeah, a
she
lot
want to
of people
go.
do that.
Take him with her.
But a lot of
Like,
people.
that's
do
what I'm
that.
trying to
But I
say.
think they're cracking down on that because, like, okay, they can easily stop. I mean, I think I'm not 100%, but they can probably easily stop and ask you, "What is this dog?" You know, and you might have to prove it.
So
Yeah. No.
when it comes to we're about
can.
to end in 2 minutes. So, when it comes to service animals, I actually have. I remember when I got Nala certified, it gave me my card that has my license.
Yeah.
You know, says my name, Nala, date of birth, all this shit, and then they also gave me another card that gives me a guideline basically on what people
Yes.
are allowed to ask me and what they're not.
Yes.
They can literally only ask me 2 questions: is she a service
Yeah.
animal?
And what is her
And,
role?
and what is her role?
Yeah.
Like what can she?
Oh, what task?
actually
what
do.
task?
But
can she
you can request. That's what Joel is saying. You can request documentation.
Hey, U.S. Marshal knows better.
Hosts should be. No, she said hosts should be able to request. I don't know if that means they can, but
I don't know. So then.
I don't know.
So even when they ask,
rules.
what is
I
he
don't
doing?
know
So
the
what is
rules.
what does Nala do for you? What is the excuse you give?
it's not an excuse, man.
Oh, it's not an excuse. Oh, that's right.
You were saying?
Smile.
Carry on.
Yeah. Carry on.
Continue the
You
conversation.
know what's funny though? I do not funny. Sorry, I worded that wrong.
Because isn't
An
Alex
awkward-
the breeds? Is it Alex
No.
that breeds? No.
No.
Oh no, the other guy.
Calvin Neo.
Yeah, Calvin.
I found this a weird experience when I first got her like certified or whatever, and I got her vest, her tactical vest with all her tags and stuff.
Tactical
she,
vest.
she carries all the AR-15.
Yeah, yeah, because we got her like a really cool tactical vest with like Molly mounts and stuff. It's crazy, and
Cup holders.
she actually does hold her own water bottle. And
what about all the help?
yeah, when I would walk around and people would look at you like, "Oh, what do you have?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because automatically you have a service animal. It's like, "Oh, you're disabled." In some kind of way, that's like their automatic assumption.
this weird.
Yeah, right? They're looking at you like, "Oh, this kid's got something," or whatever. I
Do you
found that to be-
do you start walking funny?
No,
That's-
I'm not an asshole. No.
Eddie out there walking funny just to prove to people that he needs it.
Hey, you guys.
My mama said.
Well, we hit 2 hours, boys, so I think we're gonna have to end it there.
All right.
Yeah, and we're a little super late. And,
A little
anyway.
super late.
yeah, a little super late. But anyway, guys, as promised, we constantly bring in guests that actually know things, you know, and you can learn from. So please go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't done so already. That actually helps us a lot. And then, you know, do all the good stuff, you know, the subscribe, notification button, all of that. You know, it is what it is. But thanks again, Matt, for taking a day out of your busy week.
Where can we find us?
Yeah, they can find Matt, all of Matt's. So if you're looking for websites, if you do have a lawn care business, if you're looking for an Airbnb, all of Matt's credentials are below in the description. So go ahead and check him out. Actually, guys, if you could do a huge favor, go and subscribe, you know, to all of his and follow him on Insta and subscribe to all of his channels. This is gonna actually help
To
him.
all of our 10 viewers.
Yeah, to all of our 10 viewers. Hey, listen, we have more viewers than that. All right.
11.
Hey, in a year from now, everyone's gonna watch these back.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember,
So-
this is only a stream. This is still gonna be a video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do us a solid and go ahead and subscribe and follow him on Insta on all of his business pages. If anything, I can promise you he doesn't flood your reels. He doesn't flood your timeline Once in a while, you might get a something regarding his business, but most of the time, you're gonna get things that are super, super funny. So I promise you that they're
Yes.
super funny.
I post some funny stories.
Yeah,
I
he
think
does
it's
post
cool.
Every
funny
day.
stuff. It's not on every day, but those are actually funny. They're quirky funny. So go ahead and subscribe to him. Do us a solid, and it's gonna help him. It's gonna help us. When in the future we bring other guests, they're gonna be motivated to do so, to come in and talk with us. And,
Appreciate you coming tonight, brother.
Yeah, thanks
Hey,
again,
thank
Matt, for
you,
taking the
guys.
time out of your
Yeah,
busy
that was a lot of
day.
fun.
And again, guys, everything about Matt is below in the description, so you're gonna have to hit the description and then hit more, and you'll see.
See you
all
guys
that.
on Thursday. We'll have Aussie vet Brito coming.
Yeah, we'll
to
have
talk to
another
us.
entrepreneur who's a bit older than Matt. Matt is in his 30s. He's going to be in his 40s, so you can see the progression between the two different age categories and how to become maybe successful if you've been looking into something doing yourself.